Gather around, freaks. Ever go into the sewers with your spoons and click clack for the roach man? Well, we have. So put your evolved face on, gather around the internet campfire, gather around the internet radio, because it's time once again for, hey, did you see this one?
There's something in the woods. Something between the trees. Something in the dark. Underground. Beneath the water. Something in the sky. But what could it be? This month, Hey, Did You See This One? Invites you to stare into the glowing green eyes of mystery, into the mouth of a fanged beast, to hold your breath as you break through the surface, because something is chasing you, and it might just be a crazy cryptid.
Hello, and welcome to another spine-tingling edition of Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly review reaction roundtable discussion podcast where we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a film and completely pull it apart, leaving no stone unturned. We are your co-hosts, Jason Mimic Phillips, joined always by my illustrious co-host, Stephen Boba Blackfly Waters.
That's me.
This is episode 196, rapidly approaching episode 200. And if you're playing at home, it's season 3, episode 47. We are ending early because I'm away all next week. We couldn't get it together to do a 4th episode this month, but that's my bad. But it is, of course, Crazy Cryptids 2, the sequel month, where we talk about things that go bump in the night, things like Bigfoot, giant snakes. What are some other ones? The Mothman. And this week we're talking about Mimic, which is spoilers, anthropomorphized cockroaches in New York City, I guess.
Sort of, yeah. They're just giant cockroaches that can mimic tall men.
They kind of look like Batman in the shadows a little bit too. I was thinking about that. I think I had a nightmare about the Mimic roaches. But we are joined once again by a star of internet and stage and screen, all sorts of things that you're a star of. Please welcome back to the show. I'm going to botch your last name. I always do it. Caitlin Claessens.
Claessens.
Hi.
Thank you.
Like a claw.
Like a claw. Let me make a note. Claessens. Thank you for coming back.
I'm so glad you can hear me. Because during the intro, it's like, you've lost connection to your microphones. This is great. Sweet. Hi.
That's
hello. Welcome back.
Thank you for coming back so soon.
Thanks for having me, friends.
It was literally a whole year the last time, and this time it's only been a couple months, so it was great. We did the thing where we get together and watch the movie in person, which was a great time. I got to meet your husbando, and that was a lot of fun. He's a cool guy. I hope to have him on the show.
Very cool. He probably, yeah, we were having dinner before the show, and he's like, "What are you gonna say?" And I was like, I don't know. It's like, what would you say? Tell me what to say. Because I feel like he has a lot of great thoughts about this movie. But I got thoughts too. I'll pull them out.
All right.
That's true. You picked the last movie. This time the movie was thrust upon you. It might be a little bit, I don't know if you're a huge horror fan in general, but this was pretty like creature feature horror. Before we just get into the get-go here, did you have a good time with this one? Did you enjoy this film?
I did. I do like Guillermo del Toro very much. And this was one I had not seen. It is not my genre. My genre, as Chris would say, is people in rooms talking. That's what I like.
Mumblecore.
Yeah. So, but I found it very interesting, and yeah, I liked a lot of parts of it.
A lot of parts of it. Yeah. That's great. I think we're gonna have a good discussion because we were doing our best like Mystery Science 3000 theater while watching it. So I think this movie has good and bad. But before we get to all of that, I think that we have to hear from Zardos.
Zardos speaks to you. He demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
We must.
Stephen, would you like to satiate Zardos this week? Know what this movie is about briefly?
Sure. Mimic, directed by Guillermo del Toro in the year 1997, is a movie about a plague that has hit New York City, and some scientists figure out that the plague is being carried by cockroaches beneath the city, and they're infecting primarily children. So they come up with a sort of Jurassic Park-esque way to infect the cockroaches beneath the city with something that eliminates them and gets rid of the disease. But years later, people start to go missing around the city, and it's mostly people that I don't want to call them undesirables, but people that the society doesn't necessarily care too much about. So at first, no one really bats an eye at it, but soon it starts to happen more and more often. So they start to investigate the goings-on beneath New York City, and we realize that whatever they did years ago to remove these cockroaches was meant to get rid of the cockroaches, and then they weren't supposed to have any ability to breed beyond that. So the cockroaches they released with this virus were meant to die out fairly soon after they were released. But much like Jurassic Park, life finds a way, and these cockroaches just get more and more powerful to the point that they learn how to basically come up with a form of camouflage similar to something you'd see in real life, where certain bugs and plants can take on features of animals and other creatures to defend themselves. The cockroaches in this movie are able to mimic people to a certain degree, and lure them away, and also cause a terrible fright, because they are quite frightening when you see them for the first time.
A terrible fright.
Yes, and so they realize eventually that these cockroaches, given time, will be able to take over the entire world if they're not stopped. And so the movie kind of devolves into this sewer exclusive tale of them trying to figure out how to get rid of all the cockroaches before they can breed out of control and take over the world. And that's more or less the story of Mimic.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Cool.
Also, we've got a fun cast of characters. Some of them may be a little bit outdated at this point, where you're like, "Oh, all right." The year was 1997. We can give it a pass, but we've learned a lot since 1997 and how to sensitively portray certain aspects of humanity. And this movie didn't seem all too concerned about preserving that. Though it's not the most egregious we've ever seen, it's still not great. Much like Antlers last week.
That's right. Yeah. Language wise, it was fine. There were a couple stereotypical.
I'm not
characters
talking about language, pal.
Yeah. There were some stereotypes going on for sure, but we've done other movies from around this time, and there is a depth of it could be worse from the 90s. So there was, but there are
There's nothing too offensive, I would think.
No, it's not. Again, it's not like super offensive. It's just not as sensitive as it could be. It's it's one of those things where they're like, we're gonna have a magical autistic kid, and you're like, okay, all right, movie, got it.
Cool. Well, we can probably go into our I think brief history is next, right?
Yeah.
A brief history.
So I'll just very quickly go first and say I knew about this movie in the 90s, and then it was brought to the table to do for this month, and then I watched it. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
Yeah. Bravo.
Super brief, super history. I was aware of it, but I had a good time with it. So,
Caitlin,
yeah,
how about you?
I feel like mine's even perhaps briefer because I couldn't even remember what the movie was called. And I was like, Chris, you want to go over to Steve's and watch a movie? And he's like, what movie is it? It's like, I don't know. It has a creature in it, probably.
Feature
but then when we got there, he was like, oh, it's Mimic. This is great. And I guess it clicked in my head that it's a Guillermo del Toro film, which was exciting. But no, I did not know that it existed before Tuesday. But I'm glad we watched it.
Me too.
Glad to get another del Toro film under my belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one of my favorite directors. I don't think that anything that he's made I particularly dislike. I think almost everything that he's made I like in some capacity. I won't say that this is his greatest movie, but it is fun, and it does have his sort of fingerprints all over it. And you could, even if you didn't realize he had made it, it'd be pretty early into the movie that you're like, this has like a real Guillermo del Toro vibe to it, just in terms of lighting and cinematography and the way he chooses very specific coloring, and even just sort of that sort of odd directing choice with actors. Like he has a specific idea in mind, I think, when he's getting dialogue out of people. Not in a bad way, but just in sort of like an odd way. His movies always have that sort of fantasy for adult vibe to them, like even in this movie where it is more of a standard horror, it does still have that sort of fantasy feel to it, where it's like, you go beneath the sewer system and then you go to the sub-sewer system and it's like a freaking gothic Babylonian city beneath the city, like it's like, this doesn't exist, I don't think. But yeah, my first time watching this movie was when I was like, I want to say 21, between 21 and 23, and it was when I was still really studying film pretty heavily, and I had become very obsessed with him as a director, where I just thought he was a genius and I wanted to like steep myself in everything that he'd ever done. So I had never seen this, but I saw it in like a Best Buy or something, like in one of those bargain bins on Blu-ray, and I was like, I've never seen this one, I'm going to buy it and watch the shit out of it. And I did, and I watched all the special features, and I watched it with the audio commentary on, and I've kind of like gone in and out of this movie a few times, but since that time I have not really revisited it, because it's not something that I put on necessarily for pleasure, when he's got so many other movies that I get a really huge kick out of. This is just sort of one that's, in his filmography that is not terrible, but it's a spooky monster movie. And that's more or less all you're going to get from it. But it's good looking and it's fun, and I like the music, and I like the design of everything. I think it's pretty good. The CGI does not hold up that well, but it's also not absolutely horrendous that where you're like, I don't want to watch this. This is terrible. But yeah, on my first opinion of it when I first saw it was like, yeah, okay, and that's kind of how I still feel. You know, I'm glad I'm aware of its existence and that I've watched it a few times. But yeah, that's my brief history.
We should probably mention that we watched the director's cut. I don't know, Steve, if you've ever seen the theatrical version.
That Blu-ray that I have, it has the theatrical version. There's a chance that I have watched that as well, but I don't really remember the major differences. But after we watched the movie,
I am curious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I just said I am curious. That's all.
I was gonna try to watch it, and I thought I had downloaded the regular version, but then I didn't, and then I didn't get around to it. But I was reading some of it, and and even when we were watching that sort of audio commentary after the fact, like he just basically was like a lot of the scenes were shorter. He just kind of expanded the lore a bit. So I don't think we were missing. I think we were enriched by watching the director's cut more than anything. If I had to guess.
Well, I did a little reading because I have the Guillermo del Toro Cabinet of Curiosities book, and to hear him tell it, it's a very different film.
Do we want to just pop in and talk so we can?
Yeah.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit.
Sound. Speed. Action!
Sorry, Caitlin, continue.
Okay. Thank you for that intro. So I have this Guillermo del Toro book, and it has a little bit about his experience with the film and some of his notes and stuff. And to hear him tell it, it was a very different film, and it was essentially taken away from him and recut. And that opening shot, that's that. I think Steve, you said that it takes place in the water treatment plant. That hospital shot.
Yes, yeah,
is not even in the theatrical version. That was like the first thing where they're like, whoa. What kind of movie do you think you're making here? This movie shouldn't be beautiful. It's about bugs.
Yeah. They wanted it to be more of like a B movie, like a
Right.
monster of the week, just a goofy thing. And then he's making it look like this amazingly beautifully shot, all these tents where all the children are being hospitalized, but it doesn't look like a traditional hospital. It looks like something out of a fairy tale. And they're like angelically shot with these like interior lights of all these little tents as they're walking down this hallway, and it's something that you would see in a fantasy film and not necessarily in a giant cockroach B movie.
Right.
And the studio wasn't happy about it, and the more he would push back, the more they'd be like, no, Guillermo, we hired you to do a job and you're doing too good of a job. You need to stop.
He's
It
like,
was also only his second film.
Yeah. He's like, I want to make, like, if I have to do a stupid B movie, I want to make it an awesome stupid B movie. And they gave him a budget of 30 million and he returned 25.5. And typically that's not a sequel situation, but there are two sequels to this. I don't have any insight on that. I don't know if they're connected directly, but if I was to venture to guess, they're probably the second two are probably connected to each other, and those are not connected to this outside of probably giant cockroaches. If you know, let us know in the chat. If you're a huge mimic head, let us know. But the movie looks fantastic. It's shot well. We were having some issues with the first movie of the month where it exists. Night is shot poorly. In this, it's lit well enough that you can see what's happening in very dark scenes. And the whole third act basically takes place in a sewer. And those set pieces filmed here in Toronto in Lower Bay Station look fantastic. I think they look great.
Yeah, it's lit the way you're supposed to light stuff. If this was a shitty found footage movie, there would be no light, and we'd all be like, ugh. It would be all in night vision, and be like, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
But he knows how to light stuff, man. He's one of the best in the business. And like, yeah, the lighting doesn't make sense in the sewer because there would not be all these crazy grand spotlights everywhere, but it looks good and it's cool. So,
but maybe there would be spotlights because of the sewers.
but I mean, like,
Okay.
you know, he's got lights where lights wouldn't exist, but it's like, that's good. That's a good thing. You know, like you want it to look beautiful. You don't want people to be like, what's happening? You know, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago as well. We went to go see Thunderbolts and there's like this long stretch of the movie that's takes place at night. And I'm like, is the projector broken? Is the bulb dying? I can't tell what's going on. And I was even like nudging my friends being like, remember when they used to light movies?
When I was in film school, well, like film studies, we watched the Blair Witch Project, and the projection in the room was awful. But yeah, there's like full sections of the movie where it's just couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Garbage.
But you know, some people like those movies. That's fine. I don't think that I pan the entire genre because I think there are some good ones. Like the Blair Witch is like a good movie. I like that movie. But
yeah, I think it was mostly the projector that wasn't working very well.
Right. Okay. But yeah, the production of this, I wish that I rewatched that entire audio commentary because he does tend to give a lot of insight to his movies in his commentaries that is like genuinely interesting and also kind of enriches the experience of the movie as well, because, you know, he's talking about this goofy cockroach movie with like a level of reverence that is like, you can tell that he actually cares about it, you know, and he wants you to care about it a little bit more as well. But I don't remember exactly everything, but I know that Robert Rodriguez also worked on this as well. He was he did a lot of pickup shots and stuff, and I believe he worked on a bunch of the B-reel for it.
So to hear Guillermo tell it, he was brought in by the studio to like film things after they like kind of took it from him and were recutting it.
Right. So that's probably pretty annoying for him, right? Because I think I actually have seen the theatrical cut, because I remember that scene that particularly Robert Rodriguez directed being particularly more different feeling than the rest of the movie. Like there's this sort of like layer of kind of excess that the rest of the movie doesn't embody. So like, you know, like a lot of the violence in this movie is pretty subtle. There's just like this one really ultra violent sequence in the movie that feels out of place. And then you learn later that's like, oh, Robert Rodriguez directed that part. And you're like, it all makes sense now. Rodriguez and his freaky blood packs. He loves gore, that guy. Other than that, though, I don't have like a ton of extra information in terms of production, but I'm sure I'll remember more as we start to talk. But other than that, it seemed like it was a tricky one. It was one that he did not have a great time making, specifically because they kept trying to take it from him and change it into something that he didn't think it was. But the fact that he had the opportunity to go back and make his director's cut is good. And I'm glad that we are talking about that version and not the version that he thinks is not up to snuff, you know?
Yeah. He calls it here a huge hurt in his life. Is that so sad?
Yeah.
I know.
Also, I'm just reading a little bit here from the last movie outpost.com. Somebody like is kind of talking about the final scene of the movie wasn't supposed to be, I guess it's called the leave scene, wasn't supposed to be like part of the movie, but Guillermo del Toro wanted this to sort of be a shorter film. He wanted to be a huge creature feature. The Miramax kept interfering with it, and a lot of this, it's actually a few sequences in the movie were put in by the second unit, which was what Robert Rodriguez was working on. So anytime that it looks like, if it looks different, it was probably a new scene, and it was probably filmed by Robert Rodriguez. And that's what Steve was saying. I think there's that sequence where Josh Brolin is like escaping out of a manhole and gets pulled back in, and like blood goes everywhere. I think we all determined that had to have been one of those sequences, because it looked so much different than the rest of the movie, and it was like decidedly more like gory, which also you alluded to.
Because we even said, like, at the beginning when the priest falls, we're like, "Where's the blood?"
Yeah, they
It's
got a
like,
bunch of
"What?
white
His
paint
head is
instead.
smashed. It's just like white paint." Yeah.
It's somehow
Where's the blood?
more interesting to me though, you know, like visually to have somebody land on a can of white paint and have it like just spatter everywhere and like this kind of like interesting looking explosion of liquid rather than it just be like, ew, yucky, blood. Being like, whoa,
Black and
weird.
white.
Yeah, exactly.
Evolution. Black and white. Humanity. Playing God.
Playing God. Also, when you crush a cockroach, a bunch of white shit comes out of it. That happens.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And they also showed that when it was doing its thing, was like making that white stuff that like killed all the
Foam,
cockroaches at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was very interesting watching the beginning part again with the director's commentary. Just like watching the opening for a second time, I picked up so much more because they're not like hitting you over the head with it. You kind of have to do a little bit of work yourself to connect the dots. Which I like. You know, it's not. They're not treating you like a dummy.
Yeah, I think that there is something to be said for immediately watching a movie after having just watched it. If you like it and you watch it a second time immediately afterwards, you start to like understand the movie right out of the gate, and you're like putting together the visual cues a little bit more. Big brained, you know, you're like you're looking for things a little bit more clearly than before.
That's something that I've always said about myself watching movies. I've talked about it on the show before. We're like, no, no, we're like I'll watch a movie and forget that first bit a lot of times. If it doesn't have like a lot of movies have like a cold open, which sort of just like acclimatizes you to what you're about to watch. If it's more like just a sequence at the beginning, like what this has, I might have forgotten about the kids in the little tents. But although, you know, that scene is very very good. Like it almost feels like Alien, like a almost sci-fi or fantasy, as Steven said. So yeah, this movie like looked great, it sounded great, it felt great to watch. I didn't really know what was going to happen. I read a little bit more here about what the ending was supposed to be. And apparently the mimic, like they were supposed to evolve the cockroaches to be indistinguishable from humans. And when they go down, the leave scene was supposed to be like it being like, get out of here. And the evolution would be to the point. And the whole time I'm watching this movie, before I knew what it was and going into it, I see the name Mimic. I thought that it was literally going to be a situation where we're going to get like The Thing style, where people don't know who the monster is. But there's a very definitive point in the film where it's like, no, they just are able to like, they have like a carapace that they can put up over their face that sort of looks like a human in the dark. So anyway, we'll talk about that as we talk about the plot, though.
That is a cool idea. Then at the end, it's just like this. Now they just live among us, and you don't know which one's which, and just kind of only certain people know. Like only those scientists will know, and they'll just every now and then. Well, yeah, because I was thinking about it earlier. Just like why were they killing the humans? Like were they eating them? Were they food? Because you think like in the animal world or in the insect world, like they're not just killing other bugs for the heck of it.
For no reason. Yeah, there's not really a clear reason as to why unless they're like advanced enough to understand that they need to like create this goo world for their queen or whatever. And the king is like, because they go through that part of explaining how like the termites and the cockroaches exist, right? Like because she's like an entomologist. The main character is an entomologist and she studies insects. And there's a scene where she's like selling, or she's buying bugs from these like two kids who go around catching bugs for her, and she just gives them like $5. But she like also tries to teach them, and that's for the benefit of the audience primarily, to be like, this is how insects work, dummies. And we're like, thank you thank you, movie, for explaining this to me. But in the conceit of the movie, she's trying to like get these kids more interested in science than selling drugs on the street or whatever.
Right.
So I thought that was maybe going to be setting stuff up for later on, And so anytime something would happen, I'd be like, oh, they're probably going to take her to the queen now. But
Yeah.
nope. No.
According to
or
the
like we
same-
thought she was the queen.
There was a part where I thought they were going to turn her into the queen. Yeah, I was like, is she going to be the queen now?
According to the same article that I'm kind of glancing over here, apparently the original idea for the short, as I mentioned, like a much shorter movie, just a short, the giant cockroaches were a product of evolution and not science, like they kind of do a little bit, but it is sort of like she kicked off. I really liked, Steve, when you were like, obviously it's going to be like she's their mother, so they're taking her to make her the queen. But Del Toro envisioned that God had given up on the human race and was going to let the cockroaches become the dominant species on the planet. So that's what he wanted this thing to be, and that's why they're like taking people and stuff. But obviously Miramax is like, nope, creature feature, also 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to see Guillermo's actual, like what he really wanted to do. That sounds way more interesting.
Yeah,
it's good now that, like, you know, he's established enough that he can always just do what he wants. Like, all his movies are so weird now, and I think that he gets minimal pushback from studios. So,
but now I think he has. I think he with too big a budget. Like, I think he flounders with too much possibility. I think he does much better when he has like limited resources.
He's got some guardrails. Yeah. I think I agree to a certain extent. I don't think it's as bad as someone like Tim Burton, where like Tim Burton kind of just like went, it's this crazy direction where it's like, I have unlimited money now. And it really, it almost sort of killed innovation in his movies, and they all feel the same. Whereas like his older stuff all felt like it had its own sort of unique identity with like the Tim Burton DNA as the building blocks. But what,
because he probably had to fight for all this stuff. Like Batman Returns, like you famously had to fight for it to look that weird and be that adult, because everybody wanted a movie they could sell fucking kids meals for. And he's like, no, we're gonna have a penguin man bite a guy in the nose and blood's gonna spurt everywhere in this like crazy gothic city that is very, very black and white at Christmas time.
Should we go into the body of the? Should we start talking about the movie itself?
Yeah, I think it's time.
All right, let's do
The body of the episode.
It's
Body. Yeah, so this movie opens up with like a credit sequence that sort of shows a lot. So what was it again? It was supposed to be sort of like 12 months.
7.
The setting also kind of reminds me of 12 Monkeys a little bit without the time travel stuff, but that like 90s grit is definitely in the DNA of this film. And it's like bugs, you know, tacked on to slides and, you know, pinned down. There's like butter. I'm looking at the intro here now, and it's like butterflies and different cockroaches and stuff. And it's very cool. And there's like a voiceover sort of talking about the situation. There's been this like this outbreak of a
it's called Strickler's disease.
Yeah, and it only affects children,
killing
right?
hundreds of the city's children. Yeah. But yeah, they're unable to develop a cure for it. But they are able to figure out how to genetically engineer a Judas breed of cockroach that they can send down. It's called the Judas breed, which I think is just supposed to be a reference to the character of Judas,
Yeah,
and how he kills Jesus, which plays into Guillermo del Toro believing that God gave up on humanity and sent a Judas bug, or you know, whatever. But yeah, it's a hybrid between a mantis and a termite that releases an enzyme that accelerates the roach's metabolism. So it causes the roaches to burn calories faster than they can nourish themselves, and they starve to death very quickly.
and
Oh, wow.
spoiler alert, it has a Jurassic Park-like effect on those bugs, and instead of killing them all out, it makes them evolve at the rate that, you know, monkeys evolved into humans, but in a couple of years.
Well, what happens actually is that the Judas bugs are the ones that evolve. So they were supposed to die.
Yeah.
The Judas bugs were supposed to die, and they went on to essentially breed with the cockroaches and create sort of like this new hybrid.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that I think that they evolve faster. It's just their life cycle is shorter. So they have like many more generations. So like in the 3 years that it took for this to happen, like it's like a blip of a human generation, but for them it was like thousands of generations.
I think they say that it was supposed to die off within 17 generations. So like within like, you know, a couple of weeks, they should have already have died out. But because it's been 3 years, yeah, like you said, Caitlin, they've gone through like thousands and thousands of cycles of essentially just breeding that many times. That's what accelerates the ability for
evolution
to evolve faster. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And
a lot of people
seems
think
plausible. Like I don't know what it is, but
that's what I want to see here. Like monkeys evolved into humans. She says it took 40,000 cycles or something like that, and it kind of makes sense because we're mammals. And you know, there's some talk about we got into when we were able to eat meat and mushrooms, it sort of made our brains start to grow in that time. But if you think about another animal, like what other animals would even be able to get to where humans get to? A lot of them, like if lizards had been the ones that were chosen to evolve, they would be scary monster things that wouldn't be anthropomorphized. They would just look like scary giant lizards that are hyper intelligent, or in this case
dinosaurs.
Yeah. These bugs they're very savage, you know, they're very much like they have no real intelligence beyond their physiology, you know, their primeval ability to like hunter gather. But then and they don't get into it, but they probably are like have like a drone thing where they're just all kind of communicating because they have not antlers, but these
that
things.
was last week's movie.
Yeah.
Antennae,
yeah.
Antennae? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like what happens to fish if they become people?
Fish people.
Fish man. Chris has a great painting up there. I don't know if I could I mean, I'll have to show you later, but it's so good. I don't know. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
I know that this is like an audio medium, but okay, let me get up here.
I was looking at Chris's work last night on Instagram, and he likes chimeras. I think he likes combining. Yeah, that's a horrible nightmare.
Oh,
here we gotta do this. This is one of my favorite paintings of his. I don't know. Can you see anything?
Yeah,
I can. Yeah,
but that is a fish who is suddenly in a suit and has to go to work, and he's like, what the fuck?
So it stands to reason that these cockroaches evolve slightly further, and then they take over the world, and then they have to go to the stock market. They have to go to Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they would have to do, I guess, if Guillermo had his way.
Yeah. The remaining humans on Earth are just I can't go to McDonald's anymore because I can't look at these roach people. And then the roach people are like, hey, that's racist.
Roachism.
Roachist.
So
but we wouldn't know.
We wouldn't, because they'd have fake, weird, creepy faces that fold in together when they're at the drive-thru or whatever. So yeah, they can't nourish themselves and they starve to death. But it does end up curing the Strickler's disease, or it doesn't cure it, but it stops it from spreading. So they're basically able to stop the disease within a couple of weeks. I think is that like no new cases are being bred.
I think they said 6. Yes, in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
it's gone.
And so they're basically kind of like deemed heroes, sort of. But then we also learned that they're trying to get pregnant. Oh wait, no, this is later. Sorry.
It's the scene with the kids in the tents now.
No, yeah, I thought we already talked about this. What else do you want to say about this tent scene? It looks great.
It looks cool. Okay, yeah.
Well, I do want to say that the very first shot after the credit sequence, which is like an establishing shot of the city, I thought that was so strange. It was, in my opinion, short. It was like, I'm here and then I'm gone. And then he was doing these like fade to blacks.
Mm.
And then he did that like like maybe 10 minutes into the movie, it faded to black. And then it kind of felt like, to me, it just kind of felt like a TV show that was like fading to commercial or something, and then came back up.
Right.
And then he never revisited it. Like it
I
wasn't
think it was
a fade to
meant,
black thing that continued.
to me, it was supposed to it was what they were showing were areas that would generally be populated by children are empty. So like playgrounds and things where you would see kids, but there's no kids because all the kids are too scared to go outside because they're gonna get sick. So that's what I was.
I wish she opened with that, because after the big like sort of cityscape photo, he kind of started on this wreath and like pulled out and revealed the like empty playground covered in snow,
Mhm.
which was cool. It's like, why that weird establishing shot of the city? I mean, I guess to show you're in a city, but
Yeah.
and it was like too short. It just stood out to me as kind of what?
Weird, yeah.
We also
Anyway,
there's that
that's
great
all.
sequence of them going down into the sewers with the like bug
Overly
holder
complicated
things.
device. Yeah.
that like
They're
opens
"This
up
is weird." Yeah.
and the
It
little
has these
bug
little,
pops
little
out.
compartments and little shelves that come out of it, and inside each one is like a little bug, a little Judas bug. And then they put the Judas bugs out and they foam up in the sewers and infects all the cockroaches, and then we get a shot of just thousands and thousands and thousands of dead, dying cockroaches in the subway.
Yeah.
And then
That's
there's
why I
little-
really appreciated watching it again right after, because I feel like I got a lot more out of that opening sequence because it happened so fast. There's just so much happening that I didn't necessarily pick up on.
Mhm. And then there's a press conference where they're addressing the what they've done. Essentially, it's sort of like a boilerplate press conference sequence that's in every movie. Nothing special about it, but again, it looks really good. And then we smash forward 3 years.
Well, before that though, I wanted to talk about this next scene because Caitlin made a really good point when we were watching it. I think the second time. So they go home and they're having a little like cute moment where like they kiss and have champagne and fall into the tub and water goes everywhere and the Judas bug in its container is like haphazardly on the sink. And Caitlin, you made a very good point. Do you remember what the point you made was?
I do, because we were all like, because when they go into the bathtub, the water overflows and they are not noticing it or seeming to care. And I found that very anxiety inducing. I was like, the water is getting everywhere. And then watching it the second time, I was like, oh, maybe because it's the foreshadowing of the actions of their consequence, or about the consequence of their actions, and how they're kind of oblivious, more or less, to the possibility of what could potentially happen.
Yeah, or getting in too deep, as you say. Like they're in over their head, literally. Their actions are causing an overflow. Their lack of foresight is causing issues in the future, which is represented by them dumping a bunch of water on the bathroom floor and not giving a shit about it.
So I had a question that was never fully clear to me.
Yeah. Their bottom neighbors is going to have a leak.
Yeah. Is Jeremy Northam's character, is he like a private investigator in this for the whole movie? I never really understood.
Doctor.
He's just like a doc, but
he's a medical doctor.
How did he get roped in?
He works for the Center of Disease Control.
Yeah, he's a CDC doctor.
He works for CDC.
And he brings in her because she's an entomologist. And then it's unclear whether or not they're already dating before this or they start dating because of this. But I think there's a semi implication that like the two of them becoming these sort of medical heroes brought them together. But I'm not too certain. It's not really ever addressed all that much. But by the time we get into the meat of the movie, they've been together for at least 3 years.
Yeah, I think that they're just meeting at the beginning because he refers to her as like kind of formally, like as doctor, whatever.
That's what I felt too. But I
We
was
need
also
your
like,
help, doctor.
yeah.
And then 6 weeks later, they're like, we're married. And now we've gotten to the bathtub and we've made a mess.
Mhm.
We're also introduced to F. Murray. I keep looking at F. Murray Abraham and I keep thinking F. Mary Kill. Sorry. But we're introduced to his character as well, which later we kind of find out he's like he's like kind of a colleague to Mira
F.
Sorvino.
Murray Kill would be a good t-shirt, maybe.
I'm gonna write that down. And it's a picture of him as a doctor.
Yeah, F. Murray Kill.
But we find out that he's sort of her like mentor, I think, in the entomology world. Anyway, we'll get to that. But yes, now it smash cuts to 3 years in the future, and I think it starts right off with they're in like
The priest.
town, and he's like, yeah, like our Asian priest.
It's the Judas bug and the priest. Judas priest.
Heyo.
Yep, that's right. That's what happened.
That's it.
Don't
know what it means.
It's a good sort of establishing horror shot of a man being chased, and you're not sure what he's being chased by. It is making freaky clicking noises. But then when you do see it, it very much looks almost sort of like a Nosferatu or something. Like it's in this big trench coat and it's tall and just sort of off-putting looking, and it doesn't move naturally. It's very stiff. But this man is very clearly terrified for his life to the point that he jumps off the building in an attempt to escape on some scaffolding, and the scaffolding breaks and he lands on a bunch of paint cans. And there's a pretty cool shot where it like you see the paint can and then his head just comes into frame and like crack, and it spatters white paint all over the walls and the ground. And like we were saying, rather than getting a gory bloodbath, we get this sort of weird, interesting white paint everywhere.
It spatters on a like a serving platter that is like reflective too. So it looks like if it was blood, it would look awesome. But as you guys sort of talked about at the beginning of the show, like it looks really cool because it's you don't expect it. And do we know what the theatrical cut is rated? Was it PG-13?
Probably. I don't know.
And the reason I wonder that is because
but I mean, even this version doesn't seem like it could be more than PG-13. I guess there's a lot of cursing, but
there's a lot of cursing. But I'm wondering if this scene was put into a PG-13 movie to be Del Toro being like, I want to do something horrific, but I want to get around the like censors, because it is pretty horrific, but it's not blood, right? So it's pretty safe.
It's possible, but at the same time, he's a very deliberate director, so I don't know. Maybe like I could see him coming up with that idea and being like, it would be way more cool if it was something other than blood.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a good point.
He's a very creative guy and like a very visually oriented. So I don't think that he would just do that to appease somebody, unless, I mean, it is possible. So I'm not saying that there's no way, but it is also one of the more memorable moments of the movie. It's like this old priest falling on top of a bunch of paint cans. It's cool.
Which is immediately followed by him being pulled into the sewers, which is a mix of like a person and then a practical body that I didn't think looked great. I think they could have cut it a little bit differently. So when they show the mannequin part, it's not so jarring, but you know, it is what it is. It's just a super minor critique. It was funny to me. I laughed out loud at it.
And then we also get our first introduction to the child, Chewy, clicking away with his spoons, and he's what is he reciting the sizes of the shoe of the priest, because he's
yes, that's his special
interest,
special thing.
Yeah.
Yes, a special interest that he can remember all the shoes and the kind. But then he's also a mimic in himself, so he's mimicking the click clack of the shoes with his spoons.
His spoon powers. Yeah, he collects wire, and he remembers shoe sizes and shoe makes and the noises that they make, and then he also can imitate the noises that the bugs make as well as the shoes with his spoons. So he's got a bunch of different things going on. I don't fully understand the significance of the wire, but it's an interesting thing. He makes these little figures out of out of wire, and that's where you sort of start to piece together as the viewer that like, oh, these things are like essentially giant bug men, because he's the only one that's seen them. The idea being that I think he's able to mimic them so well that they almost think that he's one of them, so they don't.
That's what I
they don't
thought.
take
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
That's what I thought too. But yeah, because I was like, not to jump ahead, but how they were. I mean, we can talk about it when it happens. But anyway, that's what I thought too. And I was talking to Chris about it, and he thinks that's dumb.
I mean, I don't think it's like I think it's it's weird. I don't know if I would call it dumb, but I think it's one of those things where it's like
I'm putting words in his mouth.
Yeah, it might not be that they think that he's one of them so much as that they're intrigued by the idea that he can in some way communicate with them. Even if it's like, if we were to talk to a parrot and the parrot is talking to you, the parrot isn't actually talking to you. You're not having a conversation with a parrot. The parrot is just making the noises that you make, but in your mind, you kind of associate it now as more closer to human than another animal because it can somehow imitate the noises that you make. It's intriguing and also creates a weird sense of empathy, right?
Yeah, and then I think that also helped me put the pieces together, like to answer the question of why are the bugs going after these people, and like they don't go after him, and why are they going after like the priest and those people who are kind of in their space. And maybe it's because they are only going after humans that they deem as a threat, so they wouldn't go after just about anybody. And if they were to walk among us, we could all be safe if we play nicely, but they're just going after people who they know want to exterminate them, which they probably did, that priest and the people who are living in that sort of basement area, because they're probably infiltrating there and they're like, we need to exterminate these bugs. And maybe that's why they attacked.
There would have been a great moment if, like, right before we see him running away, he's like stomping on a bunch of cockroaches in his chapel, with the thing like in the background looking like Batman, and then the little chase starts. That would have been, I think, effective. Another director would have done
or like putting out some like poison.
Yeah, because they definitely have evolved to the point where they're like, they're coming for us, and they tried to get us once.
Yeah, if it's like the scene in Men in Black or whatever, where anytime someone's killing a bug, the bug man shows up and gives them a bad.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop doing that, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the sequence after that where we find out that what are their names? Dr. Man, Peter Man, and Mira Sorvino's character's name is Susan, I think.
Susan Tyler,
and they're having a conversation about how they're trying to conceive. I don't know what this vial of nun's urine. Do you guys know what this is?
They're using a bunch of I think the idea is that they've exhausted all of their like proper scientific options, and now they're just trying sort of homeopathic things that
like holistic bullshit.
Yeah, just like a nun's piss and icing your balls or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it might be the opposite of like they don't want to do any scientific intervention, because she mentions, she's like, I don't want to do this, it's not natural. It's like they've been trying all these natural ways to conceive and it's not working, but they're not interested in other avenues.
So
which I don't remember. Yeah, apparently not. So they're just like pick the most ridiculous thing. That's like maybe natural.
Yeah, what is she supposed to do with it? Like, what do you do with that piss? Do you drink
you know what she's supposed to do with
there's
it.
Two things there's two
eye
things
drops.
that I can think of.
It's eye drops.
That's the way you get pregnant, don't you know?
Yeah.
That's how you get pregnant, right?
Let that wash over there.
I forget where I read this. It might have been in the Guillermo del Toro book or it might have been elsewhere, but they made the connection of they're trying so hard to get pregnant and these cockroaches are like multiplying without
that's pretty good.
Even trying. So that dichotomy.
It's like Prometheus.
And Idiocracy.
And reality.
Yeah, in reality, which is idiocracy.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're learning a little bit more about them, but yeah, the majority of their story is that they are trying to get pregnant. But as far as they're concerned at this point, their 15 minutes of fame has sort of ended, and now they're just doing their regular jobs. She works, I guess, in like a university or a museum or something. It seems like it's
a museum, I think. Yeah.
I mean, it looks
there's
like
that scene where they're in their balcony and they drop the big, like the bug exhibit is coming.
Yeah, and then they're walking around with giant maggots at one point, like plastic maggots.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. That was another thing where I'm like, oh, it's a larval stage. She's trying to get pregnant. She's walking around with a big larva. I see what you're doing here, movie. I know what you're doing.
But they had that scene. They have this whole conversation with fossils behind them. And Caitlin, you made a point. I can't remember what it was. It's in your brain, so I'm hoping you remember.
I don't remember, but I do remember Guillermo talking about it in the audio commentary, because he was saying something about, I don't know, them. I don't know. I don't remember, but it was something about the fossils have been around for like forever and they're trying to create new life. Maybe it was something like that. I don't think I had the thought, but Guillermo did talk about it in the audio commentary.
I remember that we had a conversation about it, but whatever.
Wow, I blacked out then.
Yeah, we were all sober too. Well, I had a couple of beers.
Yeah.
But you guys, me and Steve were having some beers, but you and Chris were drinking water. We had a very nice
we just
spread.
came off a 2-week family bender. But, yeah.
The next, we're introduced to a crime scene with Josh Brolin, who is
he's a detective, yeah,
kind of guy.
He's
and
like
buddies with Dr. Man.
His name is Josh. But
Josh
yeah,
plays Josh. Josh on Josh.
It seems like Dr. Man is being called in almost sort of like a forensics specialist, or at least like consultant of some capacity. But yeah, he's not full in doctor mode anymore. I don't think. I think he's doing other stuff.
I think consultant. That's why I was so confused who he was after the 3 years, because they do call him doctor, but then he shows up to basically just do forensics, and then he gets embroiled in this like plot with all of them and just goes on the adventure. But yeah, at this point they go investigate the priest murder. Yeah,
and they discover that it's not a sweatshop, but it's sort of like it's like a seamstress sewing basement where they like make counterfeit jackets or something. But like, yeah, they say like made in the USA on them, but it's like, yeah, okay, they're being made in this basement. And the implication is that I guess the priest uses his church as a front so that he can have these counterfeit jackets made in the basement. And yeah, they're like, is it a murder? And they're treating it like a murder because it is a murder, I guess. But little do they know that it's actually horrifying.
There's no body.
Yeah, like, they can't find the body.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what like originally called them to this scene was he was missing, and then they like looked in that window, and that's like a creepy reveal shot with those like all those people coming and merging, like hitting their hand on the window. Jump scare. Ooh,
spooky,
freaky, scary.
It seems like it might have been a missing persons or just looked like a crime scene, and then when they start investigating it, that's when it's revealed that there's some sort of knockoff jacket factory in the basement of the chapel of the church. That's the best I can tell.
Yeah. I mean,
and then everyone's sick. So I think that's why Dr. Man gets called in, because Josh makes that comment of like, well, I wasn't going to let them go until I got the all clear from you. So I guess he like decides who's in quarantine
and who's not.
Yeah,
and like how 3 years is not that long of a time. So like I bet the whole city is probably still jumpy to the idea that there could be a resurgence of this sort of illness that had terrorized the city only 3 years previous, right? Like we're still reeling from COVID, and that wasn't even that long ago.
I was just gonna say, remember like early 2023 when they were like, another wave's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
COVID's still out there too. Like,
Yeah.
if you get a cold, you might get COVID. It's pretty easy to still get.
I got super sick in like November, and like you can even hear the recordings on the Theorist channel. Like there's like a week long where my recordings, I just sound like I'm actually dying. Like,
I had it last Christmas.
yeah, it sucks, man.
So
I don't even know how I got it. I can know how I got it the first time.
cockroaches.
Yeah, I have all the cockroaches in my apartment. I need to do my dishes more often.
Oh, jeez.
That,
It's a
what
good
was that
thing we didn't
movie?
use that sheet pan.
What was that movie with Jerry O'Connell? The cockroach movie. That's just what Steve's apartment's like. It's not. We were there. It's clean.
I have a very clean apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's this movie we should do on the show. Actually, it's
The apartment.
right up our alley. Now, you know, what's that Jerry O'Connell movie where he like has all the cockroach friends?
I know the movie you're talking about. I don't know what it's called though.
Cockroach. It's called
That was actually mimicked.
Joe's
too.
apartment.
No.
Steve's apartment.
Yeah, I live in my own filth.
No.
You have a great place. I'm just giving you a hard time. The last place I lived in, when I lived in the basement, I never saw a cockroach, but we had bloat flies and the municipal sewer coming out from the tub, and men in our living room digging out the kitchen floor to get to the sewer line that was made of stone and not PVC pipe because of how old it was. That place had a smell. I hated it.
I tell you, I thought you were gonna like tell my story for a second, because my last place, oh my god, we had awful cockroach problem. So much so that like when we see little specks of things, we have PTSD and we're like, ugh, cockroach.
Wow.
And yeah, like when we had to move, like we moved out of there, and there was no other way to solve the problem. They were living in our fridge, and Chris would like pull the fridge out and just sit there for hours killing cockroaches as they would like come out. He would have he would call it the midnight massacre and just like kill them all. There were so many.
Well, what you should have done is came up with a hybrid of mantis and termite.
I know. If only I was as smart as Susan Tyler.
Yeah.
Instead, we just
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah, we left.
You're like, fuck
We were
this
also
place.
kicked out. So we were like, well, enjoy your cockroach infected place, landlords.
Speaking of gross things, we're also introduced to the fact that these big cockroaches just shit all over the place, which was a
Yeah.
funny thing.
Oh yeah, they find the weird stalagmites.
Stalactite of
Oh, is that what that was? Is that poopy?
yeah.
Yeah,
Hanging poops?
hanging.
They take a
poops.
Ghostbusters style sample of it too, and then the woman who's doesn't speak English is just like ranting and raving because I think it's implied she saw it or something. She's getting
Yes.
taken out of a gurney.
Because the police officer who could loosely translate was saying that she was saying something about dark angels, which is what Guillermo's vision was for these things. And okay, so here's a little anecdote. Because remember we were making that joke that she was saying like, what's the other director's name? Bon Joon-ho? What's his name? Who does
Robert
Terror-
Rodriguez.
No, Bong
No.
Joon-ho. Bong
Oh,
Bong
Bong
Joon-ho.
Joon-ho. Right.
Yeah, because she was saying things that sounded like that, and we were laughing that she was like calling for another director. But apparently, Bong Joon-ho cited Mimic as a inspiration for his movie
The Host.
Parasite.
The Host.
Oh,
Not
The
Parasite, but The Host. I was thinking Parasite. I was like, it's not Parasite. Yeah, The Host.
Don't
Is that
say
interesting?
anything with the host. It's like the only one I haven't seen. I've even seen Mickey 17. I haven't seen the host. I'm saving it for a rainy day because I've heard great things and I love his directing style. He's one of my faves.
Nice.
One of my guys. Yeah, so you're right. They have that conversation about with the Dark Angels. I want to see like the Cabinet of Curiosities hour-long version of this movie because you just know that pervert had a completely different idea for this whole thing that is relatively the same, but different enough and goopier, somehow goopier and freakier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. And then the only witness of this crime or supposed crime is that Chewy, the boy, he talks to what's his name, Manny, the shoe shine guy.
Yeah.
I thought you said something else. You said Geppetto, and I only heard the second half of that word. And
you say Geppetto,
Yeah.
I say Geppetto.
But yeah, apparently I thought it was his dad, but it's not his dad. It's his guardian.
Uncle?
It says guardian here.
Oh shit!
But
I don't know why I assume uncle at all times.
But yeah, Manny is an immigrant subway shoe shiner named Manny.
There is a significant moment before that scene though, and I just want to. It's just that Mira Sorvino has the local kids that want to learn about bugs. They bring the bug to her to sell, and Chris was like, "Oh, Gizmo's in that box," because of the way that the box shakes, and we get to see her like office, and also this is the sequence where like the monster's in the room with her, stalking her while she examines the new bug. And the bug bites her on the hand. And here, I need to play the thing because this is a spoiler for later in the movie. But my ding, 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 ding.
Theories.
My theory is that they didn't need a nun's piss. They needed a bite from the Judas beetle. Pregante at the end.
Pregante.
Well, that's why, because when she had that positive test, we were like, oh my gosh, is it like bug baby?
Because she got bit already at that point.
Yeah.
Because we skipped over the part where this is where we find the two sort of like street toughs. They're like kids that there's like an implication that they live on the street, but I don't really know if that's the case or not. But they clearly come to this lady
or latchkey kids
fairly often with a box full of bugs, and she buys bugs with them. And like her friend is always like, you paid him $5 for fucking bugs, and she's like, they could be selling much worse stuff on the street, so I think giving them $10 for some bugs is pretty good. And then she goes in with no gloves to see what the bugs are, and she finds a Judas bug and it bites her hand, and she immediately
she has a glove on because there's that
moment glove. It's a fucking shit glove that is not meant to do anything but keep germs off of your hands and to stop your hands from putting germs onto things. It's not going to stop something from biting through it.
And I remember thinking, she's the mimic now, right? Because I still at this point think that we're doing a thing, the thing. Nope, that's not a great sentence. The thing style story, horror story.
Yeah, the bite doesn't do anything. I thought that for sure getting bit there was gonna be some sort of implication, but then it seemed like later when she had the positive pregnancy test that was what was the secret. But then it turns out that it was false. But then later he says that it wasn't false. I don't know. There's like a bunch of stuff going on. You're like, what?
Well, it takes time. She just didn't wait long enough because she had that call, and then it just wasn't.
Yeah.
She waited like the time on the package, but
I thought it was really awesome that when this room gets smashed up, there's just like fireflies in the room now. And this whole sequence I thought was really well done. It was very like kind of like tense and scary.
Right. Yeah. The really shows comes for his baby.
Yeah, which I think shows like intelligence, like more intelligence than just the basic. That guy's he's more evolved.
Yeah, and there's a few of them, but it seems like maybe they're the oldest ones. I don't really understand how long these ones live, the big ones, because like the implication is that the smaller ones don't live very long, but you'd think that those big ones live longer, but I don't know if that's the case or not.
Maybe as they evolve, their lifespan gets longer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Steve, that was that sequence. Steve, you were saying about you were saying Chewie sees the bug, and you were about to talk about that scene.
That was just he basically tells his dad that Mr. Funny Shoes came, and he's like, Mr. Funny Shoes, what is that?
Funny shoes.
Yeah. And then we go to the museum, and that's when they sell the bugs. And these two kids, one kid where I'm like, this kid was hired entirely for those chompers, right? He's got these big teeth.
Oh yeah,
He's
very
funny.
unique
Yeah.
face.
And then, sorry, my throat is giving out.
Also, Pinocchio and Geppetto just happened to live directly across the street from where the CDC had quarantined and red yellow taped off that crime scene. So that was great. That was a great little thing that they did.
Mm-hmm. I thought they lived across the street from the church.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean.
Same deal. Same place.
Yeah.
Different name.
Same place, different name. Yeah, but yeah, before she can fully examine the bug, Mr. Funny Shoe shows up and smashes the fireflies. This is, again, like you mentioned it, but it is a very Guillermo thing where it's like, how can I make this environment all of a sudden seem more magical? And it's like, okay, we'll smash a container full of fireflies and she'll be walking around this like cool entomology lab with all these specimens everywhere, but also it's lit like a fairy tale with fireflies all around.
Yeah, and it's also just he used those like amber light a lot. So
yeah, this is the first time we really get to, because I immediately, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it's a color scheme you don't see very often, because like yellow is sort of notoriously difficult to film. And throughout the movie, we're just seeing these amber lights everywhere, and I'm like, he's using these amber lights all the time. What do you guys think that means? And then as soon as we put on the audio commentary, Guillermo's like, and I wanted to use only amber light because it's like the amber, the insect trapped inside the amber. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I get it now. So I felt proud of myself there. And then it escapes out the window, but after the police come, she consults with her mentor, which is what was it?
F. Murray Kill.
Yeah, F. Murray Kill. And I don't really remember the full extent of their conversation. But
I do, because that was one of my favorite parts.
Well, go ahead. You talk about it.
I love people talking in rooms, and that's what they did for those 2 minutes. She was basically being like, do you think this is possible? Do you think it's possible that these bugs stayed around and like maybe we didn't actually know what we did and the consequences of it? So she and I remembered he said, like, you're looking for an absolution, because that's another Titanic quote, waiting for an absolution that will never come. And I was like, Titanic. And then she says, like, you're not answering my question. And he says, it's not an easy question to answer. So he doesn't really give her a lot of advice, but it's basically just starting to open our minds to the possibility that what they did is now having consequences.
Yeah.
And he was always kind of against it. Like I watching again the intro, like right after, I didn't notice this before, but in the press conference, he storms off.
Yes, because he doesn't think
because he's like, I don't agree with this. You've like messed with nature.
But then he also does. Yeah, he has that opinion, and he thinks it's bad to be messing around with it. But he also says, like, I do have like 2 healthy grandchildren that probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. So I should be grateful and not question it. But at the same time, I think that what you guys did is fucking around and finding out.
Yeah,
as they say in the year 2025.
So we did skip over a couple other key scenes too, where like Susan kind of explains to Dr. Mann like the situation, but then they go, like, they told the kids in that previous scene to go find the carapace or the.
Well, they didn't.
Yeah,
they tell them that later on in the subway station. That's what like.
Yeah,
later.
the scene you guys were talking about. It's like the next scene after the subway sequence. So they go down to the subway, and they go into that little maintenance room off the subway station. We're introduced to the cop. We're introduced to the fact that Murray works in that subway station. And when they investigate the maintenance room, they did some great horror stuff. I really like how he like fumbles his flashlight down into the hole, and he's just like reaching around, and there's just like the cockroach arm kind of comes into frame, and then goes out. I really like
Spooky.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, the tension of like, woo, willy
There's
wonky.
something in there. You're gonna lose your fingers.
I know, it's like, well, that's like everybody's fear of like putting their hand into an unknown place.
Yeah, no thanks. I've seen Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
They also explain at this point Chewie's like ability much more clearly. Like he's click clacking on his spoons as people walk by, and he's saying the like make of their shoe and like the size of their shoe, and you're like, oh, this kid's got that ability.
Yeah, and Dr. Susan Tyler, she notices him.
Yeah.
Doing it. I thought that would like come into play a little bit more. I feel like they could have like upped the mimic thing.
They either make this movie 45 minutes or they make it 3 fucking hours, because I don't know what the ultimate vision for this story is. It's like there's too many things happening. It's like it's almost palpable how much Del Toro was fighting with the studio, and they both got their visions across. But I think the Del Toro vision is much stronger, but there's so many little things that I think are unnecessary. But if they were explained further, it might have enhanced it, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, it's kind of like neither of it was done well, so now it's just kind of this question mark.
Like if you get rid of the Chewie character, the story doesn't change that much.
It doesn't really change at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. He is there for Manny's character to have a reason to go down in the sewer, but if Manny's character is not there, the story still doesn't really change all that much. He's just there to have another set of legs to run around in the sewer, to have fun bug chases and stuff, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that the addition of those two characters adds a certain level of like paternal storytelling, and having a child and like a man who are maybe not even related, but him still having a love for this kid who in many realities would have been like left to the wayside and not been taken care of by anybody, because he's not able to fit into regular society, because like Manny says, like he doesn't go to school. He's special. He has other special abilities that, going to school isn't going to benefit him, but it benefits me to have him here.
And then at its very base level, it adds more to the horror slasher element of the bug going and picking people off, and it also adds the kid as a thing they have to save. Almost like he's basically a MacGuffin.
Yeah, but again, that doesn't need to exist, because they then establish later that like they have to kill the bugs or else the bugs will kill the planet.
True.
So it's like you don't need that there, because they already have a reason to go in. But at the same time, I don't dislike it. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I was like, they have this character that isn't necessarily the most sensitive depiction of autism, and it's kind of that old Hollywood version of autism where it's like they're not really verbal. They don't have an ability to have sort of like meaningful conversations without it seeming like this kid has weird extra abilities to like see beyond the mortal plane to be able to understand the bugs or whatever, right? Because he's not like us, he's different. So, obviously he's going to understand the clicking creatures because he himself is a clicking creature.
He's also not afraid of them, so we get to like see them a little bit
more up close and have those moments of, and if anything, like all of the scenes that he's in, they are like super interestingly shot and like beautifully shot. Like when he's in the church and the two mimics are sort of crested and framed by these depictions of holy figures from the Bible, with him in the middle and them kind of like looming over him like these sort of specters of death, but also dark angels, like you were saying. Yeah. It's really cool and interestingly shot, and is, I think, above this movie in terms of like what this movie is. And it has this really cool, interesting religious imagery. It feels like it should be in a better movie. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing, right? But I
think like that enhances it too, right? That makes it from B movie to like a special creature feature thing.
Yeah, and that's just Guillermo del Toro, right? Like he's not gonna half-ass stuff. He's not gonna give you what you're asking for if it's gonna be diminishing the value of the product that he's trying to make for us. And like, I appreciate that because it makes the movie more interesting. but it's
So
not enough for me to remember everything that happens in this movie after years of not having seen it. You know, I'm like, I remember
Right,
the
yeah.
bugs. I remember the bugs.
which was what Miramax wanted. Like ultimately, it seems like they got him in. It's this like second or third movie. They wanted a cool director that could do something like this, and he was like, "Well, I'm going to do it my way." And they were like, "Just make a fucking giant cockroach movie, please."
Well, they didn't
He's
know
like,
what they
"No, I
had.
will not do it."
It's like
Yeah,
you don't.
that's a good impression.
If you only have
Well, thank you.
if you only have one movie to show for your work, you don't know what you've got yet as like a production house, right? You're like, well, this guy has one movie, it's
Right.
good, but like, here's your chance, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he probably drew that too, right? Guillermo del
Yeah,
Toro?
he did. He did. And he wrote some notes.
That's fucking sick. If you're listening to this in the audio version, it was a really cool drawing of the monsters from this movie with a person on their knees like praying to it, basically.
With amber light shining through.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, amber light. It's so important.
So speaking of Del Toro just getting away with everything he wants, the studio basically said, look, you can't kill animals and you can't kill kids in this movie. So what does he do? Fucking doubles down. And we learned about this in the audio commentary. In the next sequence, the kids go and they find like the egg sac that Susan wanted them to find. And one of the monsters shows up and fucking
Is eating a dog.
tears a dog in half.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, kiddos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
and
both
then-
the kids die. Yeah. It is funny though. He's like, they told me I can't kill a dog and I can't kill a kid. So in this scene, I did both. It's like, what? Both.
Both.
It's pretty gruesome, you know. Like it is
It's crazy.
There's not a lot of movies where you see a child die on screen, and even less movies where you see a child die horrifyingly on screen. But there are a few that exist, and this is one of them. But my mind
they're always like
immediately went,
serious dramas.
well, that's what I meant to say is like gruesomely killed, not you know what's his name getting killed by bees in My Girl is like it's horrifying, but in a different way.
You want to go tree climbing, Thomas J?
Yeah, Thomas J, get up.
Have you guys ever done like
Can't see without his glasses.
He can't see without his glasses. Put his glasses on. Have you guys ever done a tearjerker month?
No.
No, we did one tear jerker and it was called Secret of Bear Mountain, and I barely cried. That's the closest to one of those kinds of movies, I think. That and like The Sandlot, kind of, and maybe Stand By Me are kind of all in that realm. But
yeah. My mind immediately went to The Blob. That's another one where a kid dies in like a pretty gruesome way on screen. You're just like,
oh,
damn.
and my
and what about
reaction when we're all sitting there, I'm like, oh, cool. The Blob has a cool kid kill.
and It.
Yeah. That one too. Both the original movie and the remake both have some pretty wild child deaths.
Yeah.
The new one, the kid gets his arm ripped entirely off, and you just see him like, holy fuck. Holy moly. But yeah, it's you immediately like as soon as she says don't go looking for this, they're like, we're gonna go look for it, and like you just know
We're gonna make like
oh,
$25.
these kids are dead for sure. This is our meal ticket. He says, it's our meal ticket out of here, out of this shithole.
Instead,
We're
they
gonna be
became the
Ringolos.
meal.
They did. But, you know, I think that it was also kind of necessary because we need to establish that it does kill kids, so that when they don't kill Chewie, the audience doesn't go, it's like, well, maybe it's because they don't kill kids or something. It's like, no, it already killed 2 kids. This kid is special in some way, and we need to make that clear. So like, I feel like that would be the argument you would make to the studio, being like, no, we have to kill the kids, or else later on they're gonna think that it's because it's a kid. So I get why it's there, but it is gruesome. What happens next, guys? I can't remember.
The scene that you were about to start talking about, where she goes to meet Fuck, Mary, fuck, Murray, kill.
Well, we already talked about that, so we don't need to
Okay.
talk about it again.
Yeah, I do feel like the middle part is it is a little foggy, but one part that we missed was when they're in the room in the subway, when they're kind of like out of bounds. That's when they meet the police officer, who then becomes a pretty prominent character.
Yes. They go in like a restricted area, and he stops them. And
yeah, he's like, "You need your permits."
Yeah, you got to come back down to
Be
a
here.
permit, and then we'll talk. Which is the cop is played by Charles S. Dutton, who is he's a pretty well known actor. He's a very like he's a character actor. He shows up in a lot of stuff as sort of, you know, that guy. But actually, I watched Alien 3 last night, and he's in that movie. He plays sort of like the he's almost like a priest kind of on the alien prison world, and like, you know, he calls everybody his brothers and sisters, and, you know, he's like wants to make sure that everybody's like free of temptation, but he's like, I'm a killer, I'm a murderer, and you don't want to know me, lady. But he's really good in that movie. That movie, I still will never understand the hate that it receives, because like you watch that movie now and it's better than like 90% of the trash that comes out in cinema.
My just as a quick tangent, my personal experience with it was that I just watched Aliens, and watching Alien 3 right after Aliens, I was like, ugh. But then I read and heard friends tell me about what the movie could have been, and like what the comic book is that is like kind of a retelling of the story, and the ideas are there, and in my head I have it as like a cool thing.
I truly believe that there's like a really loud percentage of people that talk about how bad that movie is, and then a bunch of people just listen to that opinion and without even actually analyzing the movie as they watch it, and it's just like they've already made up their mind that the movie's bad before they've even seen it.
Well, that's what would have happened to me growing up, because I never understood why people hated it, and then I watched and I was like, oh, I see why people hate it, but like there's so many good, cool ideas, and then when you expand upon that with the other ideas that weren't used, and you read about the production hell that the movie had, like this movie, this Mimic actually reminds me of like it just put xenomorphs in this movie and it fucking works as like aliens on Earth, kind of, you know. I haven't seen Alien Earth yet, but
it's pretty good.
I'm expecting. Yeah, I want a few episodes to come out so I can sit and watch like 4 hours of it in a row, because I love the Weyland-Yutani universe. I love it. I love all of it. I'm so addicted.
I'm just happy I have a weekly show again. It's been so long.
Yeah. So
I think Fallout was the last one that I was actually into.
You guys aren't watching The Bear?
No.
I've seen all The Bear. I'm a TV person. I've seen like every show. We're watching White Lotus now, and
oh yeah,
and Platonic. Have you seen Platonic?
I have not, but I've heard people say I should watch it.
It's hilarious. It's very good comedy. Now it's the Chewie adventure, which we alluded to a little bit. I wanted to tell you guys what I thought was happening when we were watching it before it was revealed. I still think in my head that this movie is a Thing style, who's going to become the monster. And when he walks into that room, we were like kind of talking, and I didn't like clue in that it wasn't a bunch of frozen people. I didn't realize it was statues. So when he walks up past those statues, I was like, oh man, they have people all frozen in here. This is fucking crazy. But then of course you realize, nope, that's not what it is.
Just statues.
Yeah. But then what you guys mentioned is like these two like angels come down basically, and he's like click, 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 and they take him, I guess, because they do one of those like just cut away from them.
Yeah, so to make it clear, the monsters, they click to communicate with each other, and he's imitating them more or less perfectly. Like every time they make a clicking combination, he'll do the same combination with the spoons, and it sounds pretty good, and it seemingly is confusing them, or it's in some way like amusing them maybe, or like it's stopping them from just immediately tearing him to shreds, and they don't.
Well, they do pick him up and take him away, and what happened to Chewie was a big old question mark for me until later on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's not really like we don't know, because of, you know, how he is, like he can't explain what happened, so like he's just like down there all of a sudden.
Yeah, so I think like when Manny finds him down there, and like we haven't seen him for a while, and it's kind of like, is Chewie down there? Or are we just gonna find like a shell of a child? But Manny's there, and the bugs are coming, and Chewie says, "Friend." Like, it's very like a Frankenstein monster moment where he's like, "Friends, friends." And then the bugs fucking destroy Manny, and he's like, "Oh shit, not friends."
Yeah, terrible.
And then he's terrified of them. So like he has a real, like, we haven't really seen him scared before that.
Yeah. It's almost like he naively is like, these are my friends. Like, why would I be scared of them? And then he sees that happen. He's like, oh,
he's like,
okay,
well, they're nice to me. They're nice to me, and we've been hanging out here and having a grand time, chit-chatting on our spoons.
Yeah, I've been telling them about the shoes that they're wearing.
Yeah, so funny. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. But yeah, we don't really know what happens to him.
Not right now, we don't, because it smash cuts to a bunch of guys in a water treatment place, like digging garbage out of the water.
Right,
or whatever.
and they
really
find
understand.
something.
And they find like they think it's a dog, which I thought was funny. Or I thought it was a body.
They thought it was a kid because they're like, "Oh shit, I think it's a kid." And then for a second, and then we are kind of meant to think maybe it's Chewie.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and I agree with you. I think it was meant. I think it was put in the movie for all of us to go, oh, another kid is dead. 3 kids.
Well, I wonder if it's also because, like, at the beginning, that disease, they're only killing kids. So it's like, are they only killing kids? Is this only kids gonna die?
Oh, that's really interesting. So, like, we're meant to sort of think that this thing is obviously killing adults, but maybe it is exacting its revenge based on part of its genetics.
Freddy Krueger
and continuing. Yeah. It's killing the parents and the kids, just like Freddy Krueger. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let that sink in. Claessens.
I was being Freddy Krueger. I'm sinking in.
Sinking my claws in. Yeah, and this is kind of when the movie becomes the underground adventure. Like, slowly but surely, all the characters that we've met over the course of the movie somehow find their way down into the sewers and need to press forward. At first, some of them are going down there looking for more specimens. Others are going down there to find their missing Chewies. And they get the cop to come down because he knows the old tunnel system, like, basically has it memorized.
One sec. Mira Sorvino is pregnant.
Yes.
Happens right before that. It's revealed she does the pregnancy tests, and then what you're saying starts to happen. Yeah.
The reason I'm not bringing it up is because it doesn't seem really important to the movie. Like, they don't go back to it really. It doesn't play a huge role. But I was thinking maybe because she's pregnant, that's why they didn't kill her, because they do also capture her, right? Like, and that isn't necessarily explained either. You gotta, I guess, leave it up to whatever speculation you have. But that's why I thought I turned to you, Kate, and I was like, oh, she's going to be the queen, because they know she's pregnant, so they know she's capable of becoming pregnant, so they're going to use her as a queen.
Yeah, but that's the other thing of, like, that's how she gets down there, is they take her down there and she kind of escapes, because they kind of are after her once she's, like, it doesn't seem like she's perfectly safe.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to spare her.
It's also where we get our first sort of, like, real good look at the bug, because she goes to the subway platform, and it's all creepily lit. We've got the lamp flickering, and this sort of stark white platform contrasted with this dark cloaked, it looks like something from the Matrix. And then slowly it's revealed that his cloak, or his trench coat, is not a coat at all, but it's actually big giant cockroach wings.
Yeah, and it was cool. They, like, picked her up and flew her away.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool.
It was good. And it didn't look terrible. It is very CGI, but it's, and it is kind of early CGI, but it's not terrible.
For a 30 million budget, not bad.
Yeah.
What's awesome is the Nosferatu style cockroaches with their, like, cloaks and their, like, hood almost. They look very cool, and they're very practical, and they also kind of float around.
Like, I was saying, like, those Russian dancers or whatever, where they're able to, like, create the illusion of zero movement, almost like they got rollerblades on underneath their skirts or whatever. They move around like that, like a very weird, off-putting thing. You know, like the lady in Mars Attacks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good.
Locomotion.
Oh, they're literally going ticket, ticket, ticket.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so now they're all underground. I feel like we've kind of brushed over the cop stuff, but he has like a fun sort of, it's the kind of only comical relief moment where
he's kind of like a hard
he's-
ass character, but he's also no nonsense. And like at some point they're like, have you ever seen anything like this before? And he's like, why the hell would I have ever seen anything like this before? What do I look like somebody who would have seen something like this before?
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you even ask me that question? Like,
yeah, and he kind of also works a little bit to the audience's benefit, like you were saying, Steve, about that early scene where she's talking to the kids about the bugs.
Yeah.
He kind of teaches us about like the subways and like,
Yeah,
without him, he like propels all that action forward. Like he's the reason that they have any hope of surviving.
He's filling a couple of roles here. He's the Irving the Explainer, where he's sort of filling in the blanks for us as an audience and giving us an understanding of this sort of like subterranean gothic world beneath New York City, while also being like doubling as the voice of reason constantly, just questioning why they're even there, and but also he fills the role of the person that knows where to go and how to get around.
I kept flip-flopping where I was like, oh, he's gonna die as soon as he showed up, and he was kind of like annoying and getting in their way. I was like, oh, he's gonna die. I was like, oh no, wait, maybe he's not gonna die. It's like, oh no, he's gonna die. And I was like, oh, maybe not.
They
maybe
never.
And you're like, now I don't want him to die.
Yeah.
They refer. They refer to the people that live underground as mole people and don't really explicitly explain that they're people until they're like, these are their drawings, this is where the people that are on the dregs of society sort of end up. And I thought it was funny. I felt like it was intentional that they just brought up mole people in that context to just add another layer to like the creature feature thing. Obviously we all knew what he was talking about. I just felt like it was on brand for the way that the sewer is presented in this film. And when he shows like a lot of people that come down here can't read or write, so they have these symbols that they like scrawl, but those symbols that they scrawl are like the old school hobo symbols that you would find, like if you guys ever read about hobo signals and those
I know what they are, but I don't know a lot about them, but I'm familiar with the idea of them. They even do them in like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff too. There's like thieves' cant.
Oh, cool.
Like a type of, it's not a language, but it's like a system of symbols and stuff that you can look around for in the world, and like the thieves have marked this area and stuff.
Well, there was like a time when you rode the rails as an house person, you would get to a new town, and if somebody had been there before, you would find these symbols, like a symbol of a pie in front of somebody's house means that like you can go to that house and get food, or like a skull and crossbones might mean like don't like get out of this area because
they eat hobos here.
Yeah. So it was interesting that
you're gonna end up in a hobo pie if you're not careful.
But you're right. I really like that. Is Irvin the Explainer like a trope thing? Because I feel like I've heard that before, but that's the guy who's like,
it's just a character that's there. That's there. It can be seen as a negative trope a lot of the time, but it's the purpose of that character is to explain exposition to another character within the movie in order for the audience to understand what's going on. So it's just
right. Okay.
In Guillermo's little interview, when he's in the book, he talks about how his vision for it was that the mole people worshipped these dark angels under there, and
I like that better than the way
spared them.
I like that better than the way what they did, because he's like they wrote these symbols on the wall, but they've disappeared. They're all gone, and that leaves us to believe either they got killed or they saw one of the cockroach men and they were like, let's get the fuck out of here.
It would have been really cool and interesting for there to be like an underground church that is, basically been built up by these people that live down there in order to worship these. Like just the whole idea of that is really cool and interesting, but it also would have made the budget crazy to have like that much extra stuff going on. But it does sound like a more interesting idea, but what it really seems like is, as you keep saying, Jason, Miramax was not interested in weird shit. They just wanted a monster movie,
Well, the more we talk about it, and the more I've read about it, the more I'm seeing Guillermo's vision and what he intended, and just how, I mean, it all ends with that explosion, which apparently Guillermo did not want whatsoever, which I really liked. Not to jump ahead, but all these things that we're kind of saying now would kind of lead to an ending where there isn't that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they
I'm
can,
wondering-
if they could speak English at the end, if they were like, "Get out of here, this is
Yeah,
our place
go,
now,"
leave.
that would have been like much more jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more like, oh shit,
They're smart.
now we live in cockroach world.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
my
I
first
mean-
house all over again.
Yeah. So we learn that well, I guess they bear.
You guys
they
are
get separated.
mimicking each other.
Yeah, we learn that, or sorry, Josh they fall down like a little too far down to climb back up area. Josh Brolin.
Also, Manny, aside of Olive, starts going exploring too. So, and they're doing surgery on one in another location. So there's a bunch
it's
of
a moment where there's a bunch of broken up storytelling going on, but Josh Brolin gets separated, and they send him back up to the surface, and the cop is like,
Doesn't work.
"What do you mean you don't remember? You got to take 2 lefts, then a right, then go straight." It's like, oh geez, and he's trying to write it on his hand, but yeah, he splits up even further. So it's like, all the party is being split, fragmented like crazy. But eventually they get back together ish in a decommissioned, or I guess it's not decommissioned, it's just an abandoned subway car, like a main car.
Except for Joshy. Joshy
Except
don't
for Josh
make it.
Brolin. He gets killed brutally, which we've already talked about a couple times, but yeah. He gets moited.
There was also the funny like fold over part when they just discover that these, like when they do the surgery, they find that the bug is able to create its own face because of evolution. So that's why they've been able to sort of integrate into society. A loose end that Del Toro clearly wanted to explore more, but they were like, no, it's fine. You can Al Jeffy their faces together. And that's a Mad Magazine reference. And it makes a face, and they put that up to like just be in the shadows and trick you. I'm looking at a picture of it right now, and it looks like it looks like if Two-Face was two of the burnt part of his face, but also has maggots all over it. So are these like monsters rolling around with maggots all over them? Yeah, there it is there. Looks like a Slipknot mask.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably aren't walking around in the daylight. They probably only hang out
definitely.
at night, They're not going to the mall. They're at like
Not
Orange
yet.
Julius and like
They got the hat, the Ninja Turtles hat and trench coat on in a mall.
I'm going to go to the Build-A-Bear.
See, I would like that actually.
Yeah.
If they had some weird quirk, like supervillain quirk.
I made my bear a construction worker. What did you make your
So it's like,
bear?
well then it is kind of like Gremlins, where they're like out doing, like causing havoc, and then it's a comedy.
It's a goofy comedy. Yeah, I mean, there isn't much that happens beyond this point other than just sewer hijinks. And I will recommend nobody ever watch Mimic and then watch Alien 3 the next night, expecting to do a podcast the night after that and not blend Alien 3 and Mimic together in your mind, because there's a lot.
So you watched Alien 3 last night is what you're telling me?
I did.
Yeah,
and a lot of the sewer hijinks mixed it up with the sewer hijinks in Alien 3.
It's very specific advice.
It also doesn't help that one of the characters in both is played by the same actor.
Very tricky. Well, so they're all down there, and this is kind of where I thought things got, like, we got into the action movie of it all.
Yes.
Like kind of what Miramax wanted. So they're there, and they all end up down there very conveniently.
We also, go ahead, sorry.
No, you go. You go.
I was going to say, this is also where we get sort of the exposition of where they surmise that like the Judas breeds accelerated. Metabolism allowed them to reproduce at an accelerated rate, which caused them to be able to evolve quicker. And that's where she figures out the face stuff. But then also they were able to, am I correct? They grew lungs, and like that was like one of the reasons they were.
Oh yeah. Oh right, because one of like, so they're like escaping the bugs, and in order to escape them, they go into the subway car, but one kind of like gets in Titanic style, like the doors coming down and sucks
and they
in.
rip it in half. Yeah,
they rip it in half, and then she's like, "Holy fuck, these are lungs. This is some crazy stuff."
And the guy's like, insects biology 101.
Right, they don't have lungs.
They don't have lungs. That's like one of their main things.
They got 6 legs, no lungs. And
which is what makes them able to grow larger, I think, is because not being able to breathe limits the size of an insect, but having
wow, look at you, Dr. Steven.
I think that's what I think the movie taught me this. But yeah, having lungs allows them to grow into larger sizes.
Yeah, I did like how smart she was, and she was just like dropping knowledge, and like how her partner was kind of the bumbling fool. At certain points, I was like, "This, you got to ditch this guy. This guy is like dead weight.
You could do better.
You could do better. This Manny guy, I don't know." And I couldn't really tell how she felt about him. Like I didn't know what they're. I was like, "Are we hinting?"
The chemistry was not great. Yeah,
no. That's why the ending was so like. But so the cool part about this part is like the cop. What's the cop's name? Mr. Cop Man.
Josh. His name.
No. He's dead.
Yeah, he died. His name is Leonard. Yeah.
So Leonard's bleeding, right? He's bleeding. I'm cut. I'm bleeding.
I'm bleeding.
And
just let me stop you right there. I just wanted to point this out because I haven't been able to do this in literal weeks, but.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
Right around this time, they say it's a mimic, and I literally haven't been able to do the title drop in weeks. So sorry to derail. Go ahead.
That was great. I love little sound bites. Dun, 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 dun. If we watch Titanic, you could do that with Titanic. I'm going to stop talking about Titanic, I promise. So this is when they realize also that, okay, these bugs are attracted to blood. So perhaps there is a little bit of they're coming after them as food and not the threat thing. And a little bit more of the maybe lack of intelligence that they're just like, I smell blood, I go, I eat, I kill. So then they start taking the bugs and like smearing it all over the place, which is very cool. Like that's exciting. Smearing goop on your face.
They're being attacked. They're inside this subway car, and there's more of the bugs attacking them from outside. And yeah, they start smearing it on the cracks and on the windows and on themselves.
And it works.
And it works, yeah. On Manny's.
And then there's that nice caress.
Right, yeah.
Because
stop sweating.
They've decided the way to get out is on these. Like Leonard has the idea of like we're gonna get these trains moving.
Mm-hmm.
Turn on the electricity. These things were like built to last. And he's kind of like, he knows a lot about trains too. He's kind of just like a jack of all trades. He knows all sorts of things.
Maybe he's also
a jack of all trains.
Yeah, I was going to say like he has a lot of special interests.
He's just like Chewie.
He's a jack of all trades and trains and tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
All things that start with T.
Yeah, so they make a plan to get the car moving. They're going to use the remains of the dead bugs to mask their scent. And Peter, I believe, is the one that has to go switch the power on to get it to start moving, right? Like that's their next split up. And then, yeah. So. And
Manny's also gone out to do
something. Do it. I know how to do this. I got this. So you're just going to touch the green wire to the red wire. They're like, you're bleeding out of your leg so much you can't walk. And also they want to eat blood. And then they start smearing the like pheromone on his open wound. And he's like, this can't be sanitary. Yeah. And I said, this can't be sanitary. Also, I was significantly grossed out by that whole bit.
That whole bit, but not the barf bowl.
That's outside of the movie. That's just Steve offered us as.
Well, I noticed you didn't. I noticed you didn't eat any of the salad in the barf bowl.
No, I did. I had salad.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Okay.
Oh
Oh,
shit!
right. Yes, you did.
I haven't cleaned that yet. It's still sitting there.
No,
Oh,
it's
Jesus
not.
Christ. There's cockroaches all over it.
I forgot about it. No, I
It's
put
such
it
a
in.
big bowl.
I put it in the fridge. So yeah, the you're right. It's very gross.
I was into
No.
it.
Manny leaves as well because he thinks he hears Chewie clicking or something, and he's like, I gotta go find Chewie. And then he
And
goes
I
out and
thought-
dies.
I thought he was gonna like follow the clicking sound right into like a bug trap, but no, there's fucking Chewie. I thought he
Chewie's
was
there.
long gone.
There was also a crazy tense moment where Peter makes it to like where he has to
Yeah.
touch the wires together, and a cockroach man just like crawls right over him.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Like he's literally, you can see him perspiring, and they're like, "Don't sweat, whatever you do." And then we started talking about how Bruce Wayne can sweat on command. American
Right.
Psycho.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale,
yeah.
thank you. I remember that more than I remember a lot of stuff from this movie.
But I just liked how she was like, "This is what we have to do. We have to rub this stuff on us," and they're like, "No," and then something like that happens, and they're like, "Okay, fuck, give me more. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Give me all this stuff."
I also just wrote Manny and Man. I thought it was a funny duo to have go look for the monsters. I also thought it was so funny that like the like man character's name was Man. Like that had to be like this whoever wrote the script.
Peter
His
Man.
name's Dr. Man.
He's
Yeah.
the man.
Dr. Man goes, no, he does all these things. This is also when she projects that the Judas will spread in a matter of like weeks.
Yeah, which I also liked, but I remember Steve, was it you who was like, "I don't like this," or like, "I don't like this moment," and I was like, "I kind of like this moment." Now it's getting into like the action movie territory.
I just feel like even at this time, it was already a very tropey thing to do where it's like we have to have a global scale risk in order for it to have weight. And I'm like, I don't dislike it. I just feel like it's a thing that is expected, where I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this now. Got it.
I don't understand.
It-
Yeah,
paint by numbers to me. Like it's just like this is the logical next step of the progression of this monster. So this is what we have to say. So everybody invested in it. Which I'm
Well,
like,
But also,
call me basic, but I was more invested after. I was like, "Oh shit!"
that's
Which is
we gotta
fine.
do
fair,
something
but
about this
like
guy.
it
but that's
almost
also
definitely
designed
means
for it to be that way, right? Like that's why it's there.
it almost definitely means that the sequel is one survived, and then the same end of the world scenario just
Listen,
gets
I looked it up.
reignited.
The sequels are both direct-to-DVD movies that cost $5
Yes.
million to make. So I'm like, I don't think that.
Yeah, but like this, but storyline wise, you don't need more than 5 million to be like, if this bug gets out of this cage, it's gonna take the world out.
Yeah. I just imagine that they're probably not going to be as heady as this movie is, directed by some
No.
random person. Yeah.
It's one of those things too, where like sometimes when we finish a movie, I'm like, I got to see the sequel immediately. I don't think I'll ever see those. I don't think there's any.
I feel like we could all write them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The director of the second
So
movie
then,
has
like the
directed
one that
one movie.
survives.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
I
And
mean, it's
then-
essentially like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy who made the sequel made a couple of things, but nothing that I really know.
How many people do you think have seen Mimic 3 Sentinel, which is the name of the third one?
2018.
Yeah. Yeah. Not even a cult
Sen-
classic.
You think Sentinel is like centipede and all? Centipede?
I think they find it's one and they call it a Sentinel, and then you see it twice in the movie, and it's mostly people running around a backlot.
Yeah.
And it costs $3 million to make.
Yeah.
A bunch of science mumbo jumbo that makes even less sense than the science mumbo jumbo in this movie.
Well, the third one is like a rear window kind of.
Oh, really? They
It's
like
like a-
see somebody getting attacked by it in like another apartment or something? Or the person in the other apartment is okay. So now my imagination is running wild.
I mean, I can just tell you.
Yeah, tell me. I don't give a. I actually don't care.
Spoil it. Spoil it.
It's just, yeah, it seems like the next door neighbor, also known as the garbage man, is this kid. He's in a
I'm the
germ-free
trash man.
confine. He's like a bubble boy, basically. He's unable to leave the confines of his sterile bedroom, and for any real stretch of time. And he is in an environmentally hypersensitive child, and he spends his days taking pictures of his neighbors from his window, occasionally catching glimpses of his sister Rosie hanging out with the neighborhood drug dealer. And then there's also the other neighbor, a mysterious man known as the Garbage Man, played by Lance Hendrickson.
Oh my
Funny
god!
shoes.
Oh,
Does he got funny
interesting.
shoes?
Oh yeah. The synopsis for this movie is so tiny. That's crazy. Usually it's a few
One
paragraphs.
sentence?
It's just that, yeah. Anyway, and then I'm not going to look at the second one. Yeah, so yeah, they've got a ticking clock element now, and everybody split up, but then everybody starts to get picked off, and all of the sort of individual missions that they go out to do are either succeeded upon or fail. But Peter does
One or the
manage-
other.
Peter managed to get the power to the train car, but then cop guy Leonard's character, he gets attacked again, and now he's bleeding real bad. And,
Yeah. But
to the point-
he's in the car and he's like making it work. He's like, yes, and it seems like they're gonna get out.
yeah.
But then like this is why it's hello. Oh, trash man.
Trash man.
Yeah.
I
he
come
is the
out throwing
man.
trash all over the ring.
Then I eat the trash. Sorry.
I once had a dream. I guess I don't remember this, but I only know this because Chris reminds me all the time. I guess I had like a dirty dream about Danny DeVito.
Say more, Queen.
I don't remember, but Chris will just always bring it up. He'd be like, Danny DeVito, huh? Like, I don't remember. But apparently I did, and I mentioned it, and it was interesting. Anyway.
I like my
So-
men 4 or 5.
I mean, I also really like Jack Black, so maybe it is a thing. I don't know. So the Leonard's character like has a full turn now, where he's like now going to sacrifice himself.
Mhm.
Where now like your heart goes out to Leonard. Before you were like, this guy's getting in the way, and then you're like, he's kind of useful. And now you're like, oh no.
Leonard, no. But yeah, he lures them out too to like a final stand moment kind of thing. So
Right.
he exercises bravery.
I had a feeling that once we saw how jacked up his, like how much blood was coming out of his leg, I was like, he's fucked.
Yeah, I
Really
remember
big.
you seeing that, and you're like, oh no. This
Yeah.
guy's not getting out of here. It's like I am a doctor, and I understand that this wound he will not recover.
But like Manny goes out and finds Chewie, and there's a moment where it's like, oh, they're back together, and then the kid's like, it's my friend, and then we already talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's fucking also Jack. I think Leonard's face gets eaten, or was that Manny? What's the scene where I can't remember who gets their face bit.
See,
I think that was Manny. I remember like it coming down because Chris and I were talking about it, and you never actually see Leonard like die. I guess it's just kind of insinuated that
unless
he's
you
been left
mistaken
out
it
of that.
for Alien 3 and you remember clearly Leonard going, is that as hard as you can bite, motherfucker? And then I'm like, oh wait, that's the other movie. Wrong movie.
sheesh magish.
Yeah.
What a world it must be in your mind.
It happens.
And because the xenomorph attacking him is so similar to him being attacked, it's very like, yeah. It's very similar, except in Alien 3 you can see a lot better of what's going on. Also
Tricky.
amber lighting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So now everyone's kind of separated again.
Mhm.
And oh yeah, there's like this extra moment where I was like, oh, now it's like Speed, where they were like on the top of the subway car or something. And
Right.
it's like the end of Speed, you know? Love Speed. Have you guys ever done Speed? I
We
mean,
did
not
do
the movie.
Yes, we did. We did
Like
Speed
yes
Speed
and
too.
yes. Accidentally.
I'll have to watch that episode.
It's pretty long, and it's 2 movies in one.
We'd watched both.
Oh,
movies
wow.
in the past, yeah, and we kind
Goodness
of covered
gracious.
both of them.
It was Mike Mangiardi.
Oh, Mike Mangiardi, yeah. Did Cass watch the movie? Why do I? No, we watched both Dreads with Cass. Yeah.
Yeah,
so they're having their speed moment in the subway.
And he knows that the smell is gonna basically lure the creatures away, so he basically pulls them away to create a diversion. But then he's killed as well, and then I think what is it? Do they go in like a dumbwaiter or something? It's something weird, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Susan's trying to load Chewie into the dumbwaiter, and Man is like, I'm gonna stop these bugs. You guys get in. She's like, no, just come. And he wants to do the last stand, and you get out of here because you can, I don't know, save the kid. And then he goes back, and then he's like, he realizes that if he opens up the gas main and lights his Zippo, which is brought up a couple of times during the movie, that'll blow up the whole place. But he's also like submerged in water, and like the Zippo won't
that was
go,
cool.
Drops the Zippo. Yeah.
I thought that was cool, and I wish I cared more about his character when he did that last stand moment. Because at the time I was like, whatever, bye.
See you later, Mr. Man.
Yeah. But I wish I was more like, oh,
yeah,
take care of my baby. Live long and prosper. Never let go, Susan.
There's room on the door for both of us, Rose.
Oh my God, I can't even address this.
You'll have to eventually when we do the 12-hour stream of that movie.
It's so weird though that like they're in this abandoned subway station and there's still like active gas lines and stuff. But I guess we should.
Yeah, well, there's electricity. There's like everything still works.
Things working down there.
Just gotta hotwire it.
Yeah, he goes into like an area where there's a bunch of them nesting, and they run out, and she and Chewie escape in the nick of time. Or no, Chewie's already been sent up in the dumbwaiter, right?
And she's there. There was something. Oh, that was the others. No, that maybe that was like the speed moment where it was like the elevator.
Yeah,
the dumbwaiter was falling, and they were trying to get out.
But also,
like the beginning of Speed.
It's like a worse version of the end of Aliens.
Oh, good God!
Where you got to blow up all the things and escape.
Yeah, or the exact same part of Alien 3 where they're trying to set up a bomb trap to kill the alien and they fuck it up. Except in this movie,
I thought that was kind of cool. So like, I'm into the Miramax action film. That's what we're gonna do.
I love a good big old explosion.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, he's gonna die. He's like surrounded. There's no way he's getting out of here. But then, he lights the thing.
He doesn't. He loses the Zippo. He breaks the thing open and he takes like a crowbar and he's just like bashing metal and he makes a spark off metal with with another piece of metal, which I thought was awesome. I thought that was super cool. I was really impressed that they were able to be like, oh, all hope is lost. And then he's like, oh, fuck. And then he dives at the last second because, of course, he fucking does. I think he should have died.
There's probably a world where he did die and the test screen was like, no, he can't die. It has to be a happy ending.
Then he emerges from the subway
with a blanket somehow. Like, where do you get that from? I don't know.
Susan Tyler looks like completely like just perfect makeup, but just with all this smudge on her face.
Well, that's not what we said, because if you'll remember,
well, that's not what you said, Jason. The rest of us were like, stop.
No, there's more to it than that.
She had like perfect lip gloss.
When she's in front of this, she's like trying to hail the subway coming at her. She puts her arm at a degree that we all went, ugh. Also, her face was definitely smudged up. I won't go into it. You can use your imagination. But we were all going like, wow, what a decision they made here.
Yeah, it looked like several hate crimes are being committed.
I don't know if people like thought about Heil Hitler as much as we do now.
No, because
back in the 90s. Because now other people are So now it's like that's our reality. So like, are you doing it?
Yeah, stop doing that.
Do you have a question, or are you doing it? So leave that.
Put your arm all the way up, or wave, or spread your. I think
Spread your fingers.
I think that's what I said. I was
You're like, spread your fingers, Susan. And I didn't even think that until you said that. I was like, oh, come on. Everyone thinks everyone's doing it, but sometimes they are.
Well, it's intrusive thoughts that we have now because of the way things are, but
spread your fingers, Susan.
Gross.
And then I said that subway car driver's not going to be able to explain what he just saw.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, she's
she's doing that, and then the bug gets in front of the subway, and it gets.
And then there was a whole skit of him trying to explain it. I swear there was like a lady, and then
There was a lady and a big old bug man. I swear to God.
She was
okay,
racist.
Earl.
Yeah.
Sure, you did, Earl.
Well, Earl,
but they saved Chewie
down there.
Peter survived, and
we can assume that they adopt him probably because they can't have a baby, or they're gonna have.
Oh, so that's supposed to be the male, right? That gets pummeled by the subway.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't
the
clear,
male.
though. It wasn't clear to me.
She does say at the end, like, that's the male, because I think I said right before, that's the male, and she was like, that's the male, and I was like, yes.
Got it. Yeah.
Like, we're on the same wavelength, Susan, you and me.
Well, the thing is like they left it completely open to give us a 5-minute, like 1 year later or 1 month later. And
I know that ending was like just so, and they like ended on the kid's face, and he's like, my family, like hugging them. And they're like, we're going to have a baby. Like, well, that's what he says at the end. He's like, we're going to have a baby. We're going to have a baby.
Like, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
You don't need to
fucking care about that.
You went from
it's
no
like,
kids to
I
two
don't
kids.
care about you, Peter Man.
Yeah, the way it should have ended is that they're in the hospital giving birth to the baby, and then when the baby comes out, you hear a clicking noise, and then it ends.
Yeah. That would have been...
Oh.
You know, Del Toro was like, this is how we have to end the movie. And Miramax was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's going to give birth to a clicker baby.
You should have added that like after the credits, like the credits roll, and then there's an extra thing at the end.
A post credits, the first ever post credits.
A
I know that's not
like,
true. But...
Oh, maybe you don't even see it, and you just hear like a baby crying, and then
you just hear the noise. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, you could even be behind a curtain and everything. One of those modesty curtains in a hospital.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like we don't see any imagery whatsoever.
Oh, so it's just black screen?
Maybe. You know, I am an artist.
Are you an auteur director?
Yeah, that's right. I have ideas.
You're a director, you know.
I know.
Well, we got through it.
And in record time too. What a movie that didn't have as much to talk about as I thought it would.
Yeah. There's also only three of us, you know, less voices.
True, but like we talked about exists like for longer, I think. But
it happens sometimes.
Pretty basic ass movie.
We didn't have
true.
Too much sort of like analytical thought about it, but we had a little bit here and there.
There was a quote of Guillermo's that I wanted to read, but I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. Oh. Never mind. It is sad here. So he's talking about it's like eventually the film was taken away from him and recut, the sequences added by another director. For Guillermo, it was a soul-crushing experience. And then he talks about it being a huge hurt in his life. I already said that. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it said, no, here it is. I found it. Okay. This was Guillermo's fledgling attempt to shoot a studio film as a studio director, to assume the role of a commercially minded technician while maintaining his artistic core and instincts. Like many of the bugs in the film, Guillermo got squashed.
Oh, God.
In this case, by the studio machine.
Eesh.
There we go. Sums it up.
Well, he got squashed, but he like much like a cockroach, survived getting squashed and came back and made many, many a good movie.
Yeah, he made Devil's Backbone right after this, I think, which is
Also
real good.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
What did I call it? The Boy's Bones or something. I was like, what's this movie called? The Boy's Bones or whatever.
Boys' Bones. Right, and we were also saying that there's some like visuals that looked like that, like when they were in the sewers and stuff, because it kind of was reminiscent of quite a few of his films, like the water,
for sure,
and undergroundness. All those like shots of kind of like going from one floor to the next.
Mm-hmm. He does have a very distinct style, and you know, whenever you hear rumors of him like taking on a new project or something, you're always like, I would be so down to see that. I remember he was going to do a Halo movie at one point, and he was going to do the Hobbit trilogy at another point, and like just to have his sort of visual sensibilities and things like that would just be so interesting to me. But you know, he's got lots of other fun original stuff though. I think the only the main one really is Hellboy, right? Like all of his other stuff is, you know, original creations from his weird mind, which I think I appreciate more. But I do love Hellboy 1 and 2. I think they're wonderful. Should we do Heavenly? Yeah. Should we do our Home Alones of it alls?
Home Alones.
If you had to pick one,
what do you think the Home Alone
when
of it
is
all?
the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone?
I really gotta know.
When is the Home Alone of it all?
What is the Home Alone of it all? Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
What is the Home Alone of it all?
Christmas is coming.
It's always here on the show. Hey, did you see this one? Because every week we have a segment that is based off the movie Home Alone. And of course, in the film Home Alone, we like to think that most movies have a similar moment that is similar, said similar too many times, as the moment, nope, too many moments now. In the movie Home Alone, Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint and creates the world of nightmares for Harry and Marv. Basically, when you go into a movie like Home Alone, that's the part of the movie you're there to see. So we've posited that most movies have a similar segment to that. In addition to that, everybody has a final thought and everybody can rate a movie. So, Caitlin, at this time, I'd like to ask you to give us your Home Alone of it all, or favorite part-ish, final thoughts on the film. And if you have a rating, whether it be out of 5, out of 10, bags of popcorn, maybe it's just stars in the sky, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So my favorite part, but it was my favorite part. I think I've already mentioned it, but I think it also could be very much considered the Home Alone of it all, because I think it does break open the theme a little bit. So it's when Susan Tyler's talking to her mentor, Fuck, Marry, Kill guy, and you know, and they're discussing like, what did I do the right thing? Is this happening now because of what we did? Should we not have done it? And there's no right answer. There's no good answer. And they kind of explore both sides of the coin. And I just liked that intimate moment that they had together, because that's what I like. I like people talking and having intimate moments. And that's is kind of like probably the most boring part in other people's minds, but I liked that, and it did kind of bring home that idea of fucking with nature and how you don't know the consequences of your actions, the bathtub overflowing, etc. But then the other favorite part was honestly the explosion. Like, that was great, and I was like, "Oh, they did it! They saved the day! All the bugs are dead! Hooray!" And then it ended too soon. So it's final thoughts on it. I'm glad Guillermo got other opportunities to make his visions come to life. Yeah, and I like that the idea of exploring with nature and what happens when you mess with it. And I like that there was the kiddos in it. That's kind of fun, even though they did have a bad demise. It's always feels very like 80s movie. Who's the director? Steven Spielberg, where it's like, they're on their bikes, they're like doing stuff. In terms of a rating, I don't know. There's like a bazillion. I wanted to give it like a cockroach rating, but there's like, can you give it out of an infinite number of cockroaches? But I still give it like 4 out of 10 cockroaches.
Okay.
4.5.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that all made sense, and I also I get what you're saying. Like, how many cockroaches out of how many cockroaches?
Yeah.
No, that's good. Please come back to the show anytime that you would like.
Thanks,
You're welcome back. Steve,
Me.
tell us all about it.
My Home Alone of it all in the movie Mimic from 1997, directed by Guillermo del Toro, is, I think it's when Dracula breaks into the museum and lets all of the fireflies out. I think it's like perfect example.
You're thinking of Alien 3 that happened in Alien
Shit.
3.
Fuck.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I just think it's a good example of how he is taking something that is laughable almost on paper, the idea of like, we're a giant cockroach movie, but he's able to inject sort of this like almost surreal and interesting and valuable when it comes to artistry of filmmaking visual that is also doubling as a horror sequence, but it's just like beautiful to look at. I think the movie is full of those as well. He snuck in as many as I think he was allowed to. And, even the idea that a lot of his stuff was put on the cutting room floor and replaced and reshot. I think he was able to put enough of it in there that it feels very much like a Guillermo del Toro movie in the best ways, especially in this version. I'm not sure. I would have to revisit the old one to be able to know the differences, but I guess it is also one of those sad things where the more you hear him talk about it, the more you can tell that he's just not happy with it, and he probably never will be. But I think that as a movie, it's definitely not his greatest movie, but at the same time, I don't want to call it his worst movie either, because even a really bad Guillermo del Toro movie is still a pretty good movie. Like, I don't think there's anything of his that I would deem unwatchable. And it's also pretty fun. And it's got some weird, spooky, haunting visuals. And I think that if you're able to kind of turn off the thinking part of your brain and just enjoy the visuals and the music, and the performances are all right, I think you'll enjoy it. There's some gross stuff, there's some fun stuff, and there's some interesting stuff. And if I had to give it a movie rating, I would give it Alien 3. No, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a headless. I'm gonna give it a headless cockroach. Just a headless cockroach.
If I may jump in before you do your final words, Jason, because Stephen, you reminded me when you mentioned the performances that the woman who played Susan Tyler,
Mira Sorvino.
Yeah, she had won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar the year before.
Oh, wow.
Or was it?
She was a big get.
Yeah, fresh off winning her Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite.
Oh.
Interesting.
I know. Surprised the heck out of me.
She's like, I'm going to do this B movie monster flick next.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, when we were watching that like little featurette of all the actors and stuff, like it all seemed like they all very much believed in Guillermo del Toro's vision for it all.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy seems like the smartest filmmaker I've ever worked for or with. So it seemed like nobody on set was worried about it, but
we saw the worst blooper reel in the history of
right.
It seemed like they were all having at least a good time. They just it wasn't
there's a
the
montage in it where it's just people licking their lips.
Like, yeah.
So
well, it was a good point that like a blooper reel for kind of a dramatic film is not funny, and the only part that was funny of the blooper part was the comedic relief part that Leonard did.
Yeah. It's a weird choice to have, Blooper
Yeah.
reel.
I guess when you gotta have the bonus features.
Yeah. All right, Jason, why don't you take it away?
My Home Alone of it all is like the sewer bit. Like once they get to the sewers and they're in the sewers, things start to ramp up. And I think that is the moment, that is the sequence of the film we're sort of there to see. Not that it didn't have some cool stuff before that I really liked, I liked the kid characters before they got maimed. I thought that was an interesting like dynamic to add. I like that, she had these latchkey kids that came to her with their bug findings because she wanted a finger on the pulse of the bugs that these kids were encountering in Midtown New York City. But that said, at the end of the day, it's very apt that even a bad Guillermo del Toro movie is still going to be a cool cabinet of curiosities. And I didn't really have anything like the veil was only pulled off of my eyes by him breaking it down in the bit of audio commentary that we watched. The theater of the mind for me played a large role in the viewing of this movie because I didn't know where this thing was going until it was revealed that these things were just bugs. That sort of took away a lot of the mystique for me. That said, the filmmaking, the movie making in this thing was top notch. It was incredible. I had a very good time watching it. I do unfortunately dislike the fact that Del Toro tells us in the audio commentary that Miramax just wanted another shitty B movie monster movie thing. There's this whole sequence of them him wanting to it be like some sort of wood beetle is the monster, is the thing that gets evolved. And then some idiot in the boardroom is like, yeah, but it's New York, so why aren't there cockroaches? And it's like you can even hear him kind of be like, that's too on the nose. But if that's what they want, if they want giant cockroach monsters, then I'm gonna goddamn it make it the best cockroach monster you ever saw. And I think that's what he delivered here. I think that I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. And I think that's a pretty good rating for a movie that might not deserve a rating that high just because the premise maybe doesn't work that well. But the thing is it's Guillermo del Toro and he can make any fucking idea work and it still be, like I said, a theater of the mind. You can use your imagination with his movies. He's not telling you everything on the screen. He's not just telling you. You get to actually experience it the way that you're experiencing it. So I will also give this movie 9,465,009,284 cockroaches out of 7,500,072,075,000 billion cockroaches.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cockroaches.
You guys ever done Pretty Woman?
We haven't, but
That's how many cockroaches were living in my fridge. I swear.
94,200 billion. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was fun. We should probably talk about our plugs and then have
Let me just plug this in right
early
here and
Oh my.
Yeah,
Dramatic
that is
ending.
every time. Caitlin, what's going on, dude?
Okay, well, it's the same thing probably as I said last time, but now we're closer because now it's real happening. My job that I do as making kids content, we're going live. We're going live, real life. We're going to be doing concerts in 6 cities in Southern Ontario. Hamilton's already sold out. One of the shows in Toronto sold out. But there's some single seats out there. So if you're out there and you're curious and you don't have kids, come buy some single seats.
I don't know. Maybe this isn't the right.
Don't buy single seats. Don't buy single seats. But yeah, if there's kids, come see the show, and yeah, you could check out my professional work on the Super Simple Play with Katie YouTube channel and Katie's Classroom on streaming services. You can hear me voice singing these tunes. Cool, guys.
Very
Thanks for
cool,
having me
very
on your podcast.
Of course.
Oh,
and
you're
we
welcome
will,
back literally anytime.
we will have you
That's
back
right.
again. We will do Titanic one day.
Oh my
I
god.
put the diamond on the coat. I put the coat on her.
Okay, but when we do Titanic, we have to start earlier than 8 p.m. I feel like
Okay.
I will fall asleep, and I don't want to.
Right.
No, it'll take some coordination. it'll
Yeah.
be special because that movie is 3 hours
Yes.
long and
Yes.
jam packed.
Also, if
And
we do
we'll
a
need
watch party,
We'll need
we'll
snacks.
yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it in the winter so that the sun will be down already by the time you guys come over, so I don't have to wait.
I love that. Well, we can do it here. I'm on a projector.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Steve, what do you got cooking on the back burner?
Well, as you guys know, I am the voice of 2 YouTube channels, one called Darth Theorist and the other called The Three-Eyed Theorist, where I narrate and I do all the character voices for stories in those universes, the Star Wars universe and the Game of Thrones universe, where we basically tell really long stories where we change one singular aspect about the Star Wars universe and see what would happen if we change that aspect. Stay tuned for what if Anakin Skywalker had a dog? Will it change his evil ways? And I also episode 4 of Stanland dropped this week, where I am in that episode. I play a sort of almost like a Republican orc playing golf. And me and another guy are 2 orcs, and we're very hilarious. But yeah, there are the other 3 episodes of that are out as well. All of them are very good and very funny. And I believe there are a couple more episodes yet to come, so keep checking that out. It's very fun. And we also have some more stuff coming from that world in the future to talk about, but not yet. But it seems like there's some stuff going on, which is pretty fun and cool, and I'm proud of it because it's actually quite funny. And other than that, I'm just hanging around, just hanging around.
Just hanging out.
Chilling like Leonard.
Hanging out,
don't know.
chilling like Leonard.
I don't know why. He was just my favorite one in that movie, so I feel like
Yeah. He was just hanging around in the subway, getting his shoes shined.
Jason, tell us about your stuff. I want to come to the next
Well,
wrestling thing.
Well, I'll tell you all about that, but before I tell you about that, I need to tell you all about a little thing called Hey, did you see this one? On the television program, yep, that's right. We're on TV now. I've seen it on my TV, so it is a TV show. You can find our show every week on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, the main place we do it, every week at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's called Hey, did you see this one? And that's important. I'm stalling because I want to show some of the match graphics for this week, so just bear with me here. It'll all make sense in just a moment. In addition to that, we have merch. You can find our merch on Redbubble and TeePublic. You can find works of art from our own Stephen Boba Blackfly Waters, such as the Grimoire of Familiar Killers. This is actually now legitimate. Our highest selling t-shirt is Kill Aid. 4 people bought this, and I can't believe it. I can believe it. I just can't believe people are buying our merch. Quaker Bell, who I used to say was our highest selling, she hasn't sold a single one except for the one this week. But
I bought one of my own artwork.
yeah, it looks great. You got Zardos, the Howie Mandela effect. Imagine walking down the street and you just see somebody wearing the fucking Howie Mandela effect on his shirt. I would lose my fucking mind. Also, we just released for 500 subscribers on YouTube, Corporal Tunnel, who is based off of our James Bond series from last year. And
His name's Corporal Tunnel Syndrome.
Corporal Tunnel Syndrome. Coming up next month, we return to James Bond. It took almost an entire calendar year to put him on the store, but he's there now. But our most recent, this was basically because Michael Chan, guest of the show, former guest of the show, friend of the show, wanted to buy it. The Eldritch Millennial is now on the store as of this week, and I really like this shirt. This is one that I might actually pick up. You can also, all of our logos and stuff are there on the store as well. So I'll just give you a quick rundown. I am the announcer for Super Kick Wrestling here in Toronto. I'm not going to show you the whole card, but tomorrow night on the 22nd of August, we are doing Super Kicked at the Great Hall here in Toronto on Queen. We're going to see matches like a four-way dance between Kingsley, Taylor Rising, Dream Girl Ellie, and Drea Mitchell. Dream Girl Ellie was featured on a Netflix miniseries. Taylor Rising has done a lot of great stuff. I trained with her, actually. That's how great she is. A tag team championship match between J Bev and Ken and Christopher taking on the champions, the Double D's from your mom's house, Derek Diggler and Danny Diggler. We're going to see a heart-to-heart between friend of the show, former guest of the show, Slam Campbell, and Psycho Mike. They're a tag team. They just lost the titles to the Double D's last month. Are they going to implode? Are they going to explode? Or are they going to kiss each other in the ring in a fit of passion? And in our main event, a tag team match from TNA Professional Wrestling. Cody Deaner teams up with our Super Kick champion Jesse V to go up against the rising stars, the upstarts, the chosen ones, being accompanied to the ring by the chosen one, Johnny the One, Jax Williams, and Matt Burns. You can find all of that tomorrow night right here in Toronto at Super Kick Wrestling at the Great Hall. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a long show. There's 4 other matches, and who knows what else. But you can find me there saying the names louder than anybody else says the names. Except for maybe Steve. Steve says names pretty loud, I think, when you're doing Darth Theorist or...
Says names?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
you're also kind of an announcer. I don't know.
Yeah, let's explore the depths of it in the video.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. But that brings us to kind of the end of the show. I wish, usually we go another whole hour, but, we're going to get off early tonight.
Honestly, my bedtime is like 9 o'clock, so it's all
Hell
good
yeah.
for me.
Hell yeah, brother. But that just leaves one last thing that needs to be done. And it is a question that needs to be asked each and every week. And Caitlin, I think you know at this point what that question is. So could you ask us right now, please, what it is?
Hey, did you see this one?
I think those cockroaches might have overstayed their welcome in New York just now.
New York City.
Get them out of there. Get ice on the cockroaches.
Jesus Christ.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, Did You See This One? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
And just so you know,